Hello, Style fans! Welcome to tonight's featured match. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58, and here we are in Picks and Bans of game number 1 of this evening's bout. We got the number 3 team taking on the number 2 in the season 13 playoffs, all the way up in Shurima. We've got this in the Shuriman bracket. We've got these two teams ready to go. On the blue side, we've got Shining Light White Knights, and up on the red, we've got Wolfpack Rendezvous. We've got the Season 13 pre-patch ready to go. We've got these two teams ready to duke it out on the Rift. Tiger, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. This is two of the top teams. This could definitely be our finals matchup, so we're getting a taste of what the top of the bracket's going to look like with this matchup. And once again, we're on the preseason patch. A lot of exciting changes coming up, so we'll have to see how these teams are going to deal with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen a whole lot of stuff come out across over these past few days across social media of people talking about Season 13 so much. I think you and I were already commenting about how much AD carries think tanks are overpowered, and yet none of them are building like LDRs or Blade of the Rune Kings or anything. So we're excited to see how these two teams adapt to a lot of these changes that we've seen across the Season 13 preseason here. But right off the bat, we're going to see the Nami first pick for the Shining Light White Knights here, and we're going to see the answer of Soraka. We saw an Lucian hover. I think I'm perfectly fine with that locked in first pick here. What do you think?
Yeah, splitting up the Lucian Nami definitely makes some sense here, but maybe not time to overcommit towards that just yet. There's still a lot of hyper carries that you could go towards if you want to sacrifice some of the laning phase. And since you're picking Soraka, maybe already doing some of that, but I think this is going to be the Heimerdinger bot lane for Rough Beans. So already getting some spicy picks in the early stages of this draft.
Yeah, there it is. It's Heimerdinger. Hooray. Uh,
Not a fan?
no, I'm not. I'm thoroughly unconvinced. I will die on this hill. If this is a support Heimerdinger or even a bot, if it's a bot lane Heimerdinger, then maybe it's better, right? But if it's a support Heimerdinger, I'm actually gonna scream. It probably isn't
I
because
think
Soraka's locked in.
Soraka's
Who am
the
I kidding,
support.
right? But like, man, I don't know how I like it in a duo lane. I don't know how effective the turrets are going to be at harassing your opponent when there's multiple targets to be hitting.
I think it's all right. I mean, it just gives you a area of control. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole idea with the Heimerdinger lane is that you just step up and assert some control. I really like the Belveth lock-in to go alongside it. Whenever you have Heimerdinger, that's taking away some of the DPS potential. So Belveth kind of infuses the team comp back with some of that. So I think that that will be the right complement to go alongside here. But we'll have to see if there's going to be a potential to invade, because I mean Lucian Nami can definitely try to push the wave back out with a help from a gank potentially, and then their power in the early game is stronger for combat in the jungle, so they might look to try to interrupt the Belveth full clear.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're gonna have the Gragas lock in, which is a comfort pick for the top laner here. Better genetics. We've seen him play it before. Excuse me. To success in the previous game that Shining Light White Knights played last week, I believe, against the Panthers, Esports Wildlife Panthers. And he played it really well against the top lane Aatrox, but we'll have to see what is going up against the Gragas here, because for the most part, the Aatrox is banned away. The Yone is also banned away here in the second half, so maybe there's a counter pick for the Gragas still available.
Possibly, but Greg is also flexible into the jungle. Learning Brain's top played champion in 2022 is Gragas,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
it definitely has some of that flex potential. I don't think that it's a huge bully in top lane or a huge skirmisher in the jungle, so it kind of can go either spot and just be alright through the laning phase. and then get to the later stage of the game and be a big setup for the team. Looks like it will be sent to that top lane to get a little bit
Hmm.
more gank potential out of the Amumu. But I think that all in all, this is a type of team comp where we're just waiting to see the team fights come out here from Shining Light White Knights. And slam an Oriana on top of that team fight, why don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is another really strong. Okay, we have a little bit of a mismatch here. I feel like Oriana wants people to be kind of close together, where Gragas kind of wants to separate them out. But I think for the most part here, they've got some really strong AoE damage, or some AoE CC. But I feel like this comp is kind of lacking damage here. I wonder if we're going to be seeing some itemization really come out here that's really going to mess with, um, excuse me, Wolfpack Rendezvous here as they lock in their final pick, which is going to be Susan. We got Susan.
Yeah, I like this Nasus last pick here because what you're saying is very true. Lucian's your only DPS source, and Lucian's not the best AD carry, especially scaling into later on into the
Hmm.
game. You're going to start to run into a problem of you're just not doing that much damage. And Nasus is the embodiment of a problem for a team that doesn't have enough damage sources.
Yeah.
So I think that between Eddie Spaghetti's Nasus and random players Belveth, I think this could become a situation where Wolfpack Rendezvous get to the later stages of the game and they just have some unkillable monsters.
Yeah, I mean they have some really good scaling here. In my opinion, they scale really hard, right? Syndra and Nasus are going to spike up later into the game here, and Nasus is technically an infinite scaler. I believe Belveth is as well. I don't think she has a cap to the amount of lavender she can grab. So the Shining Light White Knights is going to have to look to end this game pretty quickly here. I think once they have their ultimates online, I think that's the point when they should start hitting the go button to accelerate this game, because I feel like if it goes too long, like you said, Lucian does have some decent scaling into the late game, right, with his ultimate scaling off the crit, but man, it's not as good as some of these other characters here.
Yeah, it's no Jinx, it's no Zaya. You're not doing that type of damage where you get to the late game and you're immediately going to be able to chunk out a tank like you would a squishy or even a bruiser. So I think that what we need to see from Shining Light White Knights, they drafted this Nami Lucian lane that should be pretty strong, even against a Heimer Soraka, which is a little bit hard to get on top of. They might have some opportunities to make some plays around there, get some early dragons. If they can do that, I think that they're going to be in an alright spot. They need to command the map control with that early set of advantages, though. And beyond that, I mean, they don't have like a super winning top or mid matchup. Like both of those are like you get your ultimates and then you help out in a team fight. So I think that their limitations are to play through the spot lane.
Mhm.
And with Wolfpack Rendezvous probably being able to realize that, then that's going to give them a big opportunity to counteract that by maybe sending some resources towards bot, sending some support that way, and maybe just playing generally a little bit safer, even though Heimerdinger usually has the opportunity to push out the wave and stand in front of it, placing towers down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be very important. I mean, there are a lot of short range characters and some melees on the blue team here, right? And that's going to be big prey for that Heimerdinger. And so we're going to have to look to see how he plays out this early game, because usually in a lot of these matchups, Heimerdinger is just very oppressive to a lot of top laners and a decent chunk of mid laners as well, because not a lot of them can handle all the turrets that Heimerdinger places down. Like you said earlier, he makes a nice zone of control. He likes making lines of scrimmage with those turrets here. But kind of the reason I don't like him in the bot lane is because there is just another person to handle those turrets, right? You now have two people who are able to take down the turrets one at a time, right? It's not going to be as efficient. You're still going to be able to get some damage off as a Heimerdinger, but it's not going to be as much oppression as you would have in a solo lane, right? So I want to see how this Heimerdinger and Soraka deal with the fact that Lucian Nami are their lane opponents here. And see if they're able to basically stem the bleeding of this early game here and really try to play from behind here. I don't want to say from behind, but at somewhat of a disadvantage in these early games.
I like your bold take of going against what we saw from the world champions. That's always an
Okay.
influence.
Oh, we're gonna go there. Yeah, you want to know when Beryl started winning the finals is when he stopped playing Heimerdinger. Okay.
Hey, I'm just saying that when a world champion team is playing something, that usually waterfalls down through all levels of competitive play.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know. There are some picks that like only world champions will be able to play, like the highest tier of players, and we've got some high tier players tonight, right? They've got some grandmaster players, we've got some master players, right? These aren't chumps playing tonight, right? But like, man, look, I am here. I'm ready to be disproven. If that's how it ends up working, I'm ready to be disproven. But until then, bot lane Heimerdinger, I don't like it.
All right. Is your read that Heimerdinger in general is not good then, or would you be cool with a top lane Heimerdinger or mid lane Heimerdinger?
So my read on Heimerdinger is that there are very few people who are actually good at Heimerdinger. There are very few, right? And in the solo lane, it's a lot easier to really mess with your opponent, and especially in the top lane where a majority of the characters are melee. It's much easier to exert that zone of control and then be able to kite people once they try to pressure you, right? Lucian and Nami will be able to pressure you even without diving you super hard into your turrets. And then since both of them are ranged, there's now two people who at range can pressure and kill your turrets relatively easily.
All right, fair enough. We'll see if they're able to take the towers out as effectively as we would expect. I mean, there's some ways around that, but it's possible that the prevailing development that goes on in the bot lane is that you're right, and they are usually able to take out the towers. And if that's the case, then the Heimerdinger pick probably won't look so good, at least in the early stages of the game. Heimerdinger is still going to be able to do that same sort of stuff later on in the game. Control around objectives is going to be big, and I think that when you have a Bel'Veth, there's going to be a lot of rotations toward the Rift Herald as well, so objectives going to be pretty big for Wolfpack Rendezvous this game. But I do agree that there is more opportunity to take out the towers, so we'll see if Shining Light White Knights are going to be able to prove you correct on that matter.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to sound too much like a hater, so I won't press on it too much. Let's talk about the rest of the lanes here. Bel'Veth,
Okay, all right,
Bel'Veth against Amumu here. I mean, we've seen a lot of folks talk about the new jungle meta and how it's just more efficient to just do full clears of your own jungle than it is to just go into the enemy jungle and try to just at least counter jungle. So this might actually be beneficial for the Amumu here, who doesn't actually want to fight anyone early. Like he'll like come in for ganks, but he's mostly looking for full clears. Like he can clear pretty quickly and then come in and have excellent ganks pre-6.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of gank setup available, especially in bot lane and top lane. There's going to be opportunities to land a body slam flash into a bandage toss. There's going to be opportunities to land the bandage toss into bubble in the bot side and just find the damage through there. And there's some decently squishy targets in the early stages. I mean, Nasus not the beefiest until he starts to stack up, get some later levels. Gets a little bit tougher after he is able to access that ultimate, but should be a gankable target early on. And then Heimer Soraka, that's two squishies right there. So if they're ever overextended, they will be susceptible to Learning Brain coming in for the gank. And I think that when you have this full clear type meta, that's going to generally benefit the carry junglers a little bit more.
Right.
But I think that having the ganking potential in a situation where we already think that Shining Light needs to get ahead early, that's a good way to get ahead is by pulling off good ganks. So we'll see if they can get that done.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we only have about a minute left here. I'm gonna pull a crewman. I'm going to put you in the hot seat here, Tiger. What is your favorite team coming into this game number one here, based on these team comps here?
Well, the team that I'm going to favor to win this game is Wolfpack Rendezvous.
Uh
They've
huh.
just got some better scaling, I think, between
Okay.
Nasus and Belveth. Syndra even is going to help them out a lot. Probably going to be strong in lane, and having that mid lane as a power point in the early game is going to help them out immensely in counteracting what ways back in this game that Shining Light would potentially have. And I just think that having that ability to sustain through any damage that's probably going to come down, even having a Soraka on top of it. I mean, it's hard enough to get through Nasus and Belveth, but they're going to
Hmm.
get extra healing as well. So uh, I definitely have a decent size advantage on the comp of Wolfpack Rendezvous.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. We're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number one of Shining Light White Knights up against Wolfpack Rendezvous. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, Style fans. Welcome back to tonight's featured match. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58, and here we are on the Rift. Game number 1. On the blue side is Shining Light White Knights, and on the red is Wolf Pack Rendezvous. And we've got a level 1 here. Learning Brain already taking a whole mess of damage here. Gonna really cause some problems for that first early clear here. Having it back pretty late might cause some problems for these early
I
lanes
think
here.
that 30 seconds is long enough to get back out onto the map, but
Okay.
a little bit of playful invade trading going down. I don't think that there was any vision gained off of that, so pretty meaningless there, I
Yeah.
believe. But getting that first start on the top side from both junglers means that we might have a collision on the bottom side of the rift, maybe around the spawn of Scuttle Crab, maybe in the bot lane as well. I mean, there's some gank potential available. And covering a gank is definitely something that Belveth can do pretty well, even if setting up the gank herself isn't the best play.
Yeah, for sure. Is now here we go. Here is the bot lane in question right here. We've got
Yeah, ward battle.
ward battle, supportal combat. Finish him.
Love to see it.
Gosh.
I think that, like you're saying, the bot lane gonna have a lot of trading in it, but with double enchanters, probably sustain's gonna be good enough to keep it away from being a lot of all-ins, unless the junglers can show up. So I think that that one's just gonna be a little bit of a battle for positioning. We're already seeing these turrets being put up by Rough Beans. Could be difficult to get on them through the minion wave. I think that that might be sort of the play here. Some of what I've seen before with Heimerdingers is they like to set up the towers in front of the wave, but I think that it's a wise decision to set them up inside the wave here.
Yeah, number 2 Ginger in some trouble here. That's a whole lot of CC. Nowhere to go. Belveth picks up the kill in first blood in the mid lane.
I hadn't even been counting upon the gank setup of a Syndra plus Belveth. That's a little bit better than I had anticipated. It's just like being able to get that first knock up. The damage comes out so fast. That's the thing about that. The CC chain doesn't last super long, but the damage comes out so fast that it doesn't have to.
Yeah. And that's kind of the big thing that we'll have to take a look. We'll have to keep our eyes on once again because Syndra, remember, she's getting those stacks right now. She's sitting at 17, so she needs about 23 more before her first upgrade here. And, you know, Belveth is also getting Lavender every single time she gets those kills as well. So for a little bit of something down the bot lane here, Learning Brain comes down level 4. Not able to get a successful gank off just quite yet. It was spotted out by a ward. Just going to have to back away here. Is 3 minutes in. I kind of like the way Loki Dosi has been playing this bot lane because he's just kind of freezing the wave super far, like pretty close to his turret here, and just denying a lot of the value of all those turrets back there.
Yeah, avoiding the crash of the wave is definitely helping him out here. The push is always going to be coming in from Rough Beans, but I think that being able to avoid getting the wave under tower helps the farming be a little bit more clean. The CSing is just about even so far, so despite the push going in favor of Wolfpack Rendezvous, it's been just about even.
Ooh, Eddie Spaghetti in some trouble, and we saw it in the mid lane with Belveth and Syndra, and now we're seeing it in the top, just like you called it. Better Genetics and Learning Brain pick up a big kill up in the top lane there. Gonna give Gragas some more time by himself away from this Nasus.
Yeah, both junglers with successful first ganks there. Both of them taking the kills for themselves. That'll help out with the clear speed, help out with the skirmishing. But I still think that the more that kills go over to junglers, the carry out of the two junglers is the Belveth. So unless we get some AP variety of Mumu, as long as we keep trading kills, it's going to be better and better for Wolfpack Rendezvous.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty good here for sure. I mean, I want to see what this Amumu goes for. Like, maybe it's like a squishier build, like you said, that just amplifies, like, because the, oh man, what is it called? Oh man, it's Evan Shroud. Evan Shroud is an item that could be pretty beneficial to this team, just like making sure that you can do that extra bit of damage for your team is going to be very important, right? Because like we said, this team is rather low damage. Um, his team is rather low damage, so it's gonna be pretty important to make sure you're amping the damage of your team.
Yeah, so I definitely think that even Shroud could be on the menu here. But also we see that Dark Seal locked in for Learning Brain. Definitely could be like a hybrid build as well.
Hmm.
Can get some value out of building something like a Demonic Embrace.
Yeah.
But with the first Dragon going over, one of the things that I would put on my checklist for the side of Shining Light is that they want to get some of these early Drakes, so already falling behind on that. Definitely not going to be putting them in the best of positions to get some more pressure out onto the map. And we'll
Ooh, we
see if
have a
that ends up being
ultimate
a
popped
problem.
in the top lane. Explosive barrel came out, but it doesn't land on Eddie Spaghetti here. I guess he was hoping him to kite backwards here. That's actually a big, not so great for better genetics here, but doesn't look like Eddie Spaghetti really wants to push him that far here. He just wants to get some more pressure onto the Gragas here. He's just having a real bad time up in this top lane.
Yeah, I think that just gonna remain quiet for the time being. The thing about this matchup between Nasus and Gragas is that Nasus is going to scale better, but Gragas doesn't have a whole lot of pressure to push him off of the wave. So
Yeah.
we're just looking at this is the best situation for better genetics because there's no threat of Eddie Spaghetti ulting, so he can kind of push him back a little bit, try to get better trades down. But
Hmm.
it looks like we got some AP in the build as well. It's still going to be an uphill battle to avoid Eddie Spaghetti just getting to that late game Nasus stage.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to keep our eyes on Eddie Spaghetti as well. Check back in to check those stacks because it is going to be a big way that the red team is going to be winning this game in the late game, right? And it doesn't seem like they're like really being oppressive down in the bot lane here, like and like because this CS is like mostly even, right? There's like a few CS in the lead of Rough Beans here, the Heimerdinger, but it isn't anything to really write home about, right? It's like 2 or 3 CS. Number 2, Ginger, takes a whole bunch of damage here. Forced to flash away from the knockup of Velvet there. Going to be able to save his own skin there. So no kill in the mid lane. Velvet's going to have to return to their own jungle here. Maybe look at this Rift Herald here. Might actually meet up with a Mumu is in the mid lane. Number 2, Ginger. Looking to might actually kill Subaru Natsuki. Here is a random player taking a whole bunch of damage from Learning Brain here. Actually taking a decent chunk, but here comes the Ghost in from Eddie Spaghetti. Going to pop that ultimate as well, but that's going to be the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Taking down them there as now the rest of the blue team collapsing onto Eddie Spaghetti here, but he's going to have to run away through the top lane here. Going to be able to get away, use that explosive cast there in order to separate him from the 2 teams. So this is actually really good. Going to be able to secure, might not have been able to get that first Drake like you said, but is looking to grab this first Rift Herald.
Yeah, denying that from Belveth is the big thing because Belveth really gets a lot of value out of the Rift Herald. Not oh, we got an all-in.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tidal wave down into the bot lane here. That the ultimate hitting the upgraded turret is actually going to be able to find the kill on the Phoenix main here. Loki Dosi having to run away, and good peel from Rough Beans and Hiccup here in order to deal with that Nami and Lucian dive.
Yeah, and that's what makes this bot duo so powerful. It's just impossible to get on top of them. Now random player looking for another kill.
Yeah, Loki Dosi flashing away from random player here, but still looking for a little bit more. That's going to be the last bit of damage they need in order to close it out. So at the end of the day, it's a 2-for-0 down in this bottom lane.
That's just a disaster. They were hoping to get advantage with this bottom lane, picking up the Lucian Nami on the first 2 picks, blue side, but they end up giving over the first couple kills to the other direction. The first reset now is going to be 2 stacks on the Dark Seal of Rough Beans. It's going to be already completing. I think that might be enough to finish first item, or at least get really close to it.
Yeah.
Alright, it looks like it's going to be the Leandries pickup, so I think that that's going to be a really strong early power spike once that comes through, and this lane's only going to get harder and harder from here on out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing that you want to do as a Heimerdinger is just be a nuisance. Some of the times you don't even want to be getting kills, even though it's very possible. Even though you're the carry of the team, a lot of the times you just want to be the biggest nuisance possible. Set up a line of scrimmage, force people to engage into your turrets, and then provide so much spread damage across the enemy team that the rest of your team is able to get the resets that they need, or be able to sweep through the rest of the HP bars. As a maybe some Pokemon, maybe you'll get this reference, but he's basically the stealth rock of your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a stealth rock setter. Is now getting a dive onto the bot side here, learning Brain into the bot lane. Phoenix main is going to be the one picking up the kill onto the Soraka down there.
Well, maybe if you have some stealth rocks coming out in the Heimerdinger side of the fight, and then Amumu's the revenge killer comes out, maybe takes a little chip damage, but gonna set up that kill in the bottom lane, and now we got
Yeah.
more action here mid.
Yeah, another problem. Number 2, Ginger caught out again. Nowhere to go. Taken low. Here comes Learning Brain. I don't think he wanted to fully go into this, but now he's dealing a decent chunk of damage to Super Natsuki, who actually fails the flash, but it picks out in their favor, actually, because now Learning Brain is trapped here. Nowhere to go. Have to get away here. Phoenix Main comes in with a heal, throws out the bubble, but now it might be them in trouble now. Flashes away from random player here. I don't think they have the movement speed to get away from the knock-up. There's the last auto attack they need. Random player's going to finish that out. Now Learning Brain. Oh, they're long gone.
Yeah, pretty even trade overall, but once again, random player coming out well on top. Gonna be able to secure another few kills. Gonna be able to get this second Drake as well. This one a mountain, so far got some extra utility out of the first 2 dragons. And the Blade of the Ruin King complete. Natsuki going to be in a good spot with that first item, Luden's completion as well. Going to be doing a lot of one-shots at this point. That's the power of the Syndra, is that you can just start taking one player out of the fight at every given opportunity. Get a little bit of extra utility in as well with the Scatter the Weak, but doing a really good job in the early stages of this game of setting the table for random player and eventually Eddie Spaghetti to become those late game carries.
Yeah, and now we have, looks like the blue team is summoning the Rift Herald down in the bottom lane here. We do also have the Chemtech Rift for this time around. And it's definitely looking pretty good for the red team so far, because it allows you to deal more damage the less HP you have. I believe is the soul for Chemtech. You'll have to remind me on that one, but that's
You're right. It's extra damage and resistances.
Ooh.
I didn't have the. Oh, we got all in.
Oh yeah, Better Genetics down in the bot lane here is up in the top lane here is having a whole lot of trouble. Random player diving super hard and committing so much to that kill there. Gonna come out and give another kill over to the Belveth here. 4-1 now on this champion. Holy moly.
Yeah, random player doesn't seem to be concerned about any turrets on the map. I've just seen constantly diving these tier 2 towers and getting kills. Just such clean Belveth gameplay, and you love to see it. This is why these are the top tier, top end players, and 2 of our top teams, is that they know exactly their limitations, and they're playing to the maximum extent of these champions. So you love to see that, and random player even getting a bit of an invade off. Gonna be trying to get as much gold as possible. The individual gold of these junglers is tops of the game. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, this Chemtech Rift definitely showing to be pretty strong here as number 2 Ginger in some trouble once again. We do have a lane swap here coming down on this bottom half of the here. Better Genetics is coming into the bot lane. And we have the Lucian Nami coming up into the top here. What do you think about this lane swap? I mean, it seems like it's there for the Rift Herald. Do you think it's better or worse for any particular side?
Yeah, I mean, getting the lane swap up there to get the Rift Herald makes a lot of sense. I think that it probably makes sense from just the lane's perspective as well. Gragas can accept waves under tower just as effectively as Lucian and Nami can, so they might get some extra opportunity to push out that top wave here. Looks like they're going to be able to claim this Rift Herald. We'll see if random player can get in the pit, but just picking that second Rift Herald up. I didn't see where the first one ended up getting used. Did it get used at all?
Yeah, it got used in the bot lane there. I think they did get a charge. I'm not sure if they got a charge off of it at all. We didn't really see a whole lot of it because of directed camera, but yeah, it's a learning brain. Looking for Eddie Spaghetti here. That's going to be a good Curse of the Sad Mummy. That's going to be the tidal wave to back it up. The Wish is coming through to keep this Nasus alive. He's popped his own ultimate as well, but Loki Dosi going to be the one picking up the kill in the top lane.
Yeah, good job. I really like that setup. Don't throw out the bandage toss initially. Get the Curse of the Sad Mummy first when he wiggles back, and then bandage toss after it when it's guaranteed. We'll see if there's going to be an answer on this top side. It looks like they should be able to protect the tower, maybe? It's going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty close. Loki Dosi does do some decent turret damage with that Lucian passive there, but they have to be careful, right? They are playing around that potential dive there. Should be noted that that they don't have a whole lot of ultimates up on that top half, but still respecting the damage that they can do at this stage, probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just checking in on the itemization. First item's complete pretty much all around except for the supports. I was wondering if Radiant Virtue, the new tank mythic, was going to be a good Nasus item, but it looks like the call from Eddie Spaghetti is that it's going to be Divine Sunderer that's more effective this game. Definitely going to get a lot of value out of the Sheen procs, but I think that some tankiness would have been maybe more annoying against the enemy team comp. We'll see what the rest of the build ends up playing out as.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be interesting to see how the rest of this plays out now. So we do have the next Chem Tech Drake spawning in about 10 seconds here. That's going to be the next big objective that we're going to see these folks fighting over here. As we have the Rift Herald popped in the mid lane. Once again, might keep the red team in the mid lane just a little bit longer, set up for a turret dive, or even just give the blue team enough space to go and start up this dragon. But Bel'Veth is already on that half of the map.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be first to the play, but the rotate can definitely come through. They got a flank from Eddie Spaghetti. They might just end up pushing out the mid lane, though, try to get toward that tower. It looks like it's a well-done play by Shining Light to set up this Drake, and the respect being paid by Wolfpack, making sure that they don't end up throwing away the even game state at the Drake. They know that they don't have the necessity, the burden of carrying the early game isn't on them. They can still wait to continue scaling. So not contesting, I think, is the right call there.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be the first Drake. Well, this is kind of the power of taking the first two early Drakes. It means that you no longer need to go for these Drakes every single time. Sure, you get Soul Point if you get it, but it really means like you have more wiggle room to work with, right? And I think since like we said, since the champion select, Wolfpack is playing a relatively scaling team, so it doesn't really matter if they lose these next couple of Drakes. Like, if this game goes to the point where, like, they're getting Dragon Soul at this stage, like, that's probably a game that they're going to win anyway.
Yeah, I think that we've got still a long way left to go in this game, but we're in a situation. Oh, random player getting invaded upon a little bit. Gonna be able to be just fine, but we need to see where else on the map that plays are going to happen if Shining Light is going to take their advantage of the situation where they're probably a little bit stronger right now, but they're definitely in this spot where they need to continue to grow an advantage.
Yeah, for sure. Is now, once again, we're still taking a look at the rest of the map here. We take a look, taking stock of where we're at because we're nearly 20 minutes into this game here. Up 300 golds. Not a whole lot between these two teams right now. Is Shining Light White Knights here. They were able to claim both of the Rift Heralds here, so they good against random player. But speaking of random player here, dives right in, does a whole bunch of damage to Learning Brain, baits out the tidal wave from Phoenix main here, so that's a big cooldown not available for the blue team right now.
Yeah, and without that, and there's no objectives that are going to be fought over for the next 2.5 minutes anyways. That's until the next Chemtech Drake comes up. The Baron is about to show up on the map, but that one isn't going to be immediately taken by either of these teams, I don't think. the Baron take from both of these teams is pretty healthy, but not extremely fast. I think it's a little bit faster for Wolfpack Rendezvous, but they don't have like a 8-second Baron take or anything. They
Right.
still gotta stay at it a little while. So I think that any Baron sneaks are probably off the table for this game.
Yeah. Eddie Spaghetti here trying to get that wave to crash in this bottom lane here. Better Genetics is trying to freeze it super hard on his side of the map here. I do want to do a quick look-see at some stacks, because we do have some stacks. We do have some mini game players on the red side here. So we have a 396 stacks for that Nasus, now 408. We've got 53 stacks of Lavender for Belveth, and we have 81 stacks of that Syndra passive there. So this is starting. Even though this gold lead doesn't really say that they're in the lead, the red team is slowly eking themselves just leads out of their own passives here.
Yeah, I mean, those don't end up becoming leads. I mean, they're part of the kit, so they're
Right.
not the same as gold leads until you get to that hyper scaling, or if you're ahead of the curve potentially, then
Right.
you're in
Okay.
a extra lead spot of them. But I think that getting to those break points is still going to be a notable source of power. I'm not 100% sure on what the Lavender stacks do, but I know exactly the Splinter breakpoints because that's a recent change. I know
Yeah.
that 80 Splinters means that there's upgrades on each of the non-ultimate abilities for Syndra, so those each have some extra damage associated with them, or extra range on the Scatter the Weak, I believe.
Yeah.
And I know that Nasus just becomes more and more Nasus the more and more stacks that he has.
Yeah.
So he's definitely feeling pretty good about that spot. I don't know.
The Lavender is just a bunch of attack speed. It's just the more Lavender you have, the more attack speed you get off of your passive, and then that also scales with your level as well. So it's amount of Lavender times a number equal to your level. As now they're looking for an engage here. Eddie Spaghetti gonna have to pop that ultimate and the ghost relatively early here. That's gonna be the slow onto a Mumu here. Still hasn't thrown out the curse of the Sad Mummy, but there it is. Whole lot of damage. They're gonna separate Hiccup there, and that's a big take. But Nami goes down as well, and Loki Dosi has to get out of this fight. Like that, just like that, all of the damage is gone. Loki Dosi's got nowhere to go. He's gonna have to leave this. I don't think he can even re-engage into this fight with how many members are here. And look at these HP bars as well, completely healthy after that fight. This is a big win for the Wolfpack here. They're going to pick up the first Chemtech Drake for them. Barrel over the wall. All right. Red team picks it up.
Yeah, going to be able to take that one. It was a big silence at the beginning of the fight from Hiccup to avoid a 4-man Curse of the Sad Mummy. And it looked like Learning Brain was back in, but good timing on the flashes, able to set up only 1 kill.
Yeah, so now it's definitely this game is still insanely close, right? We saw that pretty big win from the red side here from Wolfpack, but this game is played on the edge of a knife. This is 300 gold still separates these two teams. It's just now swung in the favor of the red team at this moment.
Yeah, still pretty close, but now also Soul Point going over is pretty big. That means that the next Drake and all following Drakes are going to be big points of contest that need to happen from Shining Light. That means that they're kind of in a situation where they've got all their towers up, and I'm still feeling like they're getting pushed off the map just because the map presence of Soul is so powerful. The map presence of Heimerdinger, I guess, and Nasus just being able to push waves, it seems so oppressive. There's still a lot of towers on the map, and I think that I might be feeling something that's not actually the case, but that's just how it seems to me, is just that pushing around the map is what's going in favor of Wolfpack Rendezvous.
Yeah. As As yeah, like you said, like this game is so incredibly close, but like there are minor things that as this game goes on is just mostly the difference between these teams is mostly going to come down to just their kits and, you know, these characters stylistically, right? The longer this game goes on, right, as it is, right, if it stays the same pace, this Lucian is going to fall off. This Nami is not going to scale as well as this Soraka, right? This Gragas is going to be full tank, right? We'll probably see a Fimbulwinter completed from him as well. But, like, that's going to be the biggest tank part of their team. Will they have the damage to break through the red team? And it seems like the answer might be no.
Looks like we're about to have a fight here. I can't figure out if they're going to pull the trigger, though.
Yeah, that Learning Brain here is taken to about half HP. The Tidal Wave comes through, but neither team, mostly just A-ramming it out in the mid lane here. They're throwing out a whole bunch of abilities, but neither one is committing to an engage just yet. Both of them kind of want to fight here, but don't exactly know what a good fight looks like. Loki Dosi forced to flash cleanse here. Once again, we're back to the A-ram in the mid lane.
Yeah, both teams jockeying for position, trying to break down that all-important tier 1 mid lane tower. That would give them more pressure even on the map. Either side able to do that would give them big pressure out on the map, able to push out, but especially with the spot that Wolfpack Rendezvous are in. If they can break that one down, they're going to be in good position. It looks though like the first one's going to go over to Shining Light. They're going to have that little extra advantage for themselves. They've got a slight gold lead as well. I like what we're seeing in the itemization. Abyssal Mask taken by Learning Brain. So if it's not going to be the AP variety of Mumu, it might as well be the variety that gives the rest of your team a little bit of extra room to deal some magic damage.
Yeah, for sure. And we're also seeing excuse me, this one has a long name. Jock Show, the Protean, which does a lot, which drains health away from folks who are nearby you. So that's just a lot of just incremental, just ticking damage for this Amumu here, which I think is pretty good, especially paired with the Abyssal Mask as well. I'd actually like to see a Sunfire Aegis built out as well, because that's no longer a mythic item.
Yeah, could be stacking up those extra values of being able to do some damage in the area. Even on top of the despair, just being able to pump out a little bit over and over again. But the question still remains to be seen. Will it be enough? I mean, we're starting to see the late games coming through. Eddie Spaghetti, now level 15, 597 stacks on that Q. And he's going to get to take another tower here and got that second item, Force of Nature. For all of the shred that Abyssal Mask does, Force of Nature plus Merc Treads is going to stack that resistances back up. So we're going to be in a position where we're probably going to get to find out right here. 9 seconds on the Chemtech Drake. We'll see if Learning Brain can get the big ulti this time.
Yeah, it's going to be really important, but number 2 Ginger has already taken a bunch of damage off the bat here. Good knockup from random player. Here is the Curse of the Sad Mummy, comes onto the backside here, but it only lands to the Hiccup 1357. They're doing a bunch of damage to Soraka on the backside here, but that's going to be the Wish coming across and basically negating a lot of the damage they've already done. Learning Brain looking for them over the wall, but they're going to be flashing away, and now he's insanely low and got nowhere to go, and he's going to go down. Now, it's 1-for-1. Learning Brain for Eddie Spaghetti, but look at that HP bar on random player right now. He is perfectly healthy right now. They really can't engage off to this. These are half HP and below. If Loki Dosi wants to go in, it's going to be really close because there are no ultimates available for this blue squad here, but we do have a teleport coming in. They still want to contest this. Look at that damage onto Loki Dosi here. Rough Beans is going to be the one picking up the kill onto the Nami here. They're still looking to contest as best they can. Better Genetics is on the front line here, but Random Player is still on the Dragon. They're getting some poke damage off, but none of them can really commit into this fight. Let's see. That's going to be the Chemtech Soul picked up for the team, and that's going to be Syndra picking up the kill onto the Orianna here. Random Player dashes over the wall, not going to be able to find that kill, not going to be able to find anything onto the Gragas there. They're just backing away. I think they're going to Baron.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, and with the big team fight victory, they should be able to take this one pretty well uncontested. just a huge wish at the beginning of the fight from Hiccup, gonna be able to get the full value onto all 5 members. And Eddie Spaghetti bought so much time. We'll see if Better Genetics can contest here. Learning Brain maybe gonna look for the steal.
Yeah, Better Genetics has already taken so much damage here, and Eddie Spaghetti still looking for a little bit more, but Baron is going to be secured here. That's going to be the explosive cast coming out here, but Better Genetics still low on HP, has to go over the wall here. Loki Dosi, I don't think you can really deal with Eddie Spaghetti here. They're just so big. Holy moly.
Yeah, I think that it just feels like the game's over. I mean, it was hard enough to kill him without the extra resistances that Chemtech Soul ends up giving out, but now it's just even that much harder. And once you get close, they're gonna do a better job killing you as well. Shining Light in a desperation situation, they've got to find a way to clear out these waves. Now they have to make the game stall out so that they can get a shot at a miracle steal on an Elder Drake. I think that's their only way back into the game.
Yeah, it's really important, but once again, the longer this game goes on, the more it favors the red team, right? This random player is only going to get more and more attack speed here, and that's only going to be harder to deal with as this game progresses. Look at what they're doing to Better Genetics right now. And even on the bot lane as well, they're taking so much damage right here. Learning Brain taking incredibly low, going to take that Nami W in order to try to heal just a little bit, but they're going to go down to the Syndra execute on the ultimate here. And now they just have nothing to work with here. It's just really, really tough. And they're not giving them any breathing room here. Random player going to take a whole bunch of damage. They're just going to be able to back away here. Keep in mind, at below 50% HP, you get 10% damage resistance and you get 10% adaptive force as well. So it'll be hard. I mean, Better Genetics is trying so hard to stop the Nasus here, but they just can't do it. There's so many things being thrown out here, but they just can't stop them.
Yeah, Eddie Spaghetti 0-3-1, but doing so much work. Better Genetics gonna go down now, I think.
Yep.
And that's probably going to do it. I think that there's nothing left to contest on the wave. There's two cannon minions doing work on the tower. This could be the push to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to get one here. They might be able to delay the game just a little bit longer here. Learning Brain already doing a significant amount of damage here. Loki Dosi on the backside here. They're taking incredibly low. They're going to be taken down now. Loki Dosi looking for the kill on a random player, but they've already found 2. Can they find more? That's going to be number 3. The resets are coming through, which means they're going to heal just a little bit. Good knock up into the air. The cleanse is not going to save you from being knocked into the air. So random player looking for a little bit more. This Hex Tech Soul doing so much work right now. Random player now has the Violet necessary to start spawning all of these little minions to help shove the wave. Can you really stop them now? This Baron buff is so incredibly strong. They've got a TP coming in from the Nasus to keep the minions alive. Random player dives in, looking for the last bit of damage onto the Nexus here, but doesn't quite need it. The Belveth minions are way too strong. Game number 1 goes over to Wolfpack Rendezvous.
This is a certified Belveth moment. This is a 2022 champ, and you can see it on full display. The resets coming through so clean from random player there in that last fight. But just a good game all the way through from Wolfpack Rendezvous. We talked about it at the beginning. All they needed to do was get to their late game scaling. They did a fantastic job of just stalling the game out on level terms, and then once they got to that late game, they had that advantage, and they used it to its full extent. 8-1-4 for random player, and Wolfpack Rendezvous coming out strong here in game number 1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was a really, really good first game here from Wolfpack. Like you said, they did a good job stemming the bleeding, right? There weren't a lot of, even though the bot lane was slated to win early and they did get a few kills, they weren't really able to pressure them really anywhere else, right? The Amumu wasn't able to get into the enemy side or pressure the Belveth early. The Orianna and Syndra went even. The Gragas and the Nasus went even. And every single time, if you have a team that scales better than you and you're going even with them, that's going to favor the scaling team more than the early team.
Well, here's the big question, Shinkari. Are you sold on bot lane Heimerdinger?
No. No. Heimerdinger didn't win that game.
3-1.
Heimerdinger did not. They did not win that game because of Heimerdinger.
They held the bot lane. They neutralized the Lucian Nami. I thought
Lucian
that.
Nami were still able to get kills, keep up and farm with the Heimerdinger, and also get first turret.
Did they get for they
Yeah.
got it when they lane swapped top, right?
Yeah, they got first turret, and then they were still able to get the bot turret as well. Like they got, by what I mean first turret is like they got the turret before the Heimerdinger.
All right, fair enough. They did do that, so I guess that there's a little bit of credit to be given there. But I do think we're gonna have to see a draft adjustment going into game number 2 from Shining Light White Knights. Hopefully, they're going to be able to regroup and get themselves on the right page and start their comeback in this series.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of game number 2 of Shining Light White Knights versus Wolfpack Rendezvous. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58. Here we are in Pix and Dance, game number 2 of Wolfpack Rendezvous versus Shining Light White Knights. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, excuse me, Wolfpack Rendezvous were able to get game number 1 over Shining Light White Knights after stemming the bleeding in that early game, going even across the map, and getting a big win, scaling into that late game with the Bel'Veth, with the Nasus, with the Syndra. And once it came down to it, well, Shining Light White Knights were just overwhelmed with the amount of sheer power that those champions were packing. So here we are, game number 2, and they're banning the Heimerdinger.
Shinkari, I've seen for a long time that blue side has been the better side, but in the in the very small sample size of the preseason that I've watched, I've seen 3 red side wins and only 1 blue side win. Do you think that red side is becoming better, or is it just a little bit of some small sample size bias going down?
I think you're right, 100%. That red side is definitely better than blue side now. Everyone, write it down. Make sure you at Tiger58 and make sure that whenever someone says blue side is better than red, you can make sure to at him. There's his Twitter right there. It's on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you tag. Make sure you let him know every single time.
Gotta appreciate some community engagement, but we're going right back to the Lucian Nami for Shining Light.
Yep.
So they felt like the Heimerdinger was thwarting them a little bit too much, just being an annoyance. So they really wanted the Lucian Nami lane though, which we'll see if that ends up working to their benefit. I think Loki Dosi was the best player for them in the last game. We're seeing a lot of the same champions actually with Subaru on the Syndra once again as well. Yep. So some power picks making their way to the top of the draft.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big thing for me here is that now that there's an Ezreal in the bottom lane here, and the Yuumi is banned away. Although the Soraka still a relatively good pick here if Wolfpack Rendezvous wants to run that back. Yeah, I definitely don't hate the Soraka pick here. If they played it really well in the previous game, forcing out abilities from the Lucian with the dash right when placing down that E was really important. You know, that just having a silence that's like that instant cast and forcing movement from the opponent is really important for that. And just the healing to keep Ezreal in lane is going to be really important against this hyper aggressive lane as well.
Yep, the Soraka was a big difference maker in some of the fights last game. There was one that comes to mind where there was a 5-man wish that hit for full regeneration on everyone and really set the table to clean up the rest of the fight. So Soraka definitely finding a lot of value in this series. The Yone pickup a little bit interesting here. Definitely helps them get more DPS out of their champions. But with double physical damage dealers here, I'm putting this game on high Malphite alert.
Yeah. Yeah, high Malphite alert. I mean, that's a good place to put it, right? There's a lot of AD damage already showing up for Shining Light White Knights here, and you know, Malphite is an insanely easy character to pilot, and like I feel like tank itemization has gotten a lot better in the preseason here. We've seen a lot of folks just look for that really well. I mean, I think the two of us have talked a whole lot. We were joking in like the pre-game that like, oh hey, AD carries are complaining about how strong tanks are. And you know, if this Graves is the lock-in for Wolfpack Rendezvous, it means that they still kind of need a front line for them. So Malphite might actually be a pretty good lock-in.
Yeah, could definitely default to something like an Ornn as well, or even a Maokai. We've seen some decent amounts of lately. There's a lot of tank options that are rising up in the power levels, though. So the blind pick top will definitely be interesting to see. I like Graves into physical damage as well, so that makes some sense to me. Well, I shouldn't say that it's blind pick top because you know that it's either going to be into Yone or Rumble. I'm not sure which one is going to be which. at the outset of this draft, but I do think that picking the Jacks locks us into a situation where Wolfpack Rendezvous looking at potentially a split push setup here, but they're completely devoid of front line, so finding a 5v5 team fight is going to be very difficult for them.
Yeah, as now Jax is going to be the lock-in for Wolfpack Rendezvous here. We're not going to have a true tank on their team here, but we are still going to have a team that doesn't exactly favor the early game here. Still looking to be kind of scaling here, but Dr. Mundo on the other side, along with some solid healing and a rumble. What do you think about these two team comps here?
Well, I really like the adjustments made by Shining Light. They liked their Lucian Nami, so they stuck to that, but they really changed up how the rest of the map is going to look. They don't have a lot of CC, they don't have a lot of engage anymore, but they do have a ton of damage, and up against a team that's got at least 3 squishies, you could argue that all 5 of them are squishy to some degree. But they should be looking to get some one shots down. They shouldn't have any problem cutting through the enemy team. But I think that what we're going to see a lot in this game is that there's much more room for individual outplay, individual skill expression, and maybe pulling some wool over the enemy team's eyes from either side if they can get good angles on fights, get some skirmishes with some odd numbers, then they can make these drafts look really good. I think that it's a lot closer in my eyes this time than it was in game number 1 in terms of team compositions. But there's some power picks on each side, so I'm really excited to see how these players play this one out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big thing here is that Jax being locked in here, I think we might see Eddie Spaghetti picking up the new item, or new item in quotes, Spear of Shojin, right? This is going to be the returning item from ye olden times. And by ye olden, I think it was like season 8, season 9 was the last time we saw it.
I'm getting old, I think, Shinkari. I'm talking about back in the good old days in season 8 when we had Spear Shojin and everyone had the item. Now we remember it fondly. We're getting all of our items back. Please bring back Athene's Unholy Grail. That's all support players want. If we're gonna bring back the good old days items, that's the one.
Support players only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting. Pardon my French.
Yeah, so I definitely think that you're correct on the Spear Shojin front. Eddie Spaghetti can be looking to do a lot of individual skirmishing. Wouldn't be surprised to see an early board. Wouldn't even be surprised to see maybe something like a hull breaker going down. That could be a nice little adjustment in the build when you know that you're not looking for 5v5 play.
Yeah.
But I'm really wondering what we're going to see, if it's going to be a 4-1, a 1-3-1, what the grouped part is going to look like here for Wolfpack is going to really make the difference in this game to me. If they can make the Syndra, Ezreal, Soraka core work together well in at least holding their own and putting some threat down on the mid lane, then that's going to elevate the power of the Jax and the Graves going off and doing their own thing in side lanes and enemy jungles, wherever they might be going. So they need to be able to get value out of that, and if they're not, then I mean, Yone, Dr. Mundo, these are champs that are able to hold up some power on their own sides of the map as well. And Lucian Nami is definitely going to have the strength to punch through in the matchup on the group front. So I think that Shining Light definitely are in a good position coming out of this draft, but I don't think that it's going to default to them winning. It's just giving themselves more opportunities here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head is kind of like why Biggest problem with Wolfpack Rendezvous here is I am a big fan of more of like honest League of Legends, meaning that like, front to back comps have been tried and true in League of Legends for a very long time for a good reason, right? You have a solid defensive core in order to make sure that your carries can push forward, right? But Wolfpack Rendezvous here just seemed to have 4 carries and a healer, right? And I guess that can work out. And Jax can kind of frontline like a little bit. He does kind of build kind of bruiserish, and Graves does kind of passively gain armor through his grit stacks. But it's really just I kind of don't like it because of that, just because like Yone and Lucian both can build lethality fairly well, and that's going to be pretty good against the team. Like if you're not careful, and if this team, I feel like Wolfpack Rendezvous doesn't like team fight as well as Shining Light White Knights, who are looking to all pile their ultimates on top of each other, right? Last Breath, um, Equalizer, Tidal Wave, the Culling, like all of these ultimates really synergize well with each other, and Dr. Mundo, all he needs to do is just kind of stand in front and tank a lot of this damage and just become a hyper tank that is going to be almost impossible to deal with here. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like the Dr. Mundo last pick. It's recognizing that you don't really need any further additions to your team fight to win the team fight, but
Mm-hmm.
having that extra front line is going to help them in multiple facets. Like, that's going to be Dr. Mundo's pretty decent in a side lane, can kind of hold his own against the Jax, can kind of make that lane a pretty neutral spot, maybe even get some advantages there, but still they will have the better team fight because they already had the better team fight. So they're
Yeah.
going to get a lot of value out of that. I think that they should probably be slightly favored here, but I
Uh-huh.
really think that this one's a close one. The Soraka pick is still going to hold a lot of value for me. Hiccup definitely looked good on it last game. And when you want to have side lane split pushes, Soraka definitely works pretty well in tandem with that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of strengths on both sides, and it should be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, for sure. My last kind of question mark here is just seeing number 2 Ginger on the Yone. All the times we've seen number 2 Ginger play, he's been on a lot of mage characters, right? We've seen him on Syndra, we've seen him on Oriana. I think we saw him on there was one more pick that we saw him on that was just another immobile. It was Victor. Victor was the other character we've seen him play, right? And Yone is a lot different in terms of style, right? There's an auto attack based AD champion with high mobility, lots of burst windows, and because you'd be able to play your burst windows similarly to a mage, maybe we'll see some kind of overlap there for number 2 Ginger, but I think we'll see if stylistically he can hold up on this Yone here.
Yeah, I think that it's an opportunity for number two Ginger to show us why he's a top tier player.
Why is it
Have
top
that
two Ginger?
top, yes. I said top tier, but maybe
Yeah, yeah,
top
yeah.
tier player. And having that extra flexibility in the pool to go towards
Hmm.
the AD style champs like Yone would be a big upgrade in the champion pool potential for draft. So opportunity here to help the team out in the win, of course, but also to show some individual strengths.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of Shining Light White Knights versus Wolfpack Rendezvous. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58, and here we are on the Rift. Game number 2 of our featured match for this evening. On the red side, it is going to be the Shining Light White Knights, and on the blue side, it is going to be the Wolf Pack Rendezvous. Here is already level 1. These two top laners are just ready to duke it out already.
Throwing the briefcase at him. Gonna be able to reset, get full health back. I like seeing what we got here. We got some first strike action going on. We got a lot of first strike actually. But we also have a cull coming out for Rough Beans. So we're gonna have. I think Rough Beans is making the statement that the goal of the ADC position right now is to have the least interactive gameplay that you can possibly imagine.
Yes, correct. What is that the new ping sound? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not sure.
I keep hearing tong tong tong.
I think that was an emote. I think it was an emote.
I hope it's an emote. That better not be the ping. I'll be upset.
Nah, question mark ping still sounds like it's always sounded. So we're
Of course. Oh yeah, I mean that's fine. That's the only ping you ever need.
Yep.
Do people even use other pings?
No, I don't. Well, I've seen some people using the bait ping that they added for some questions.
I've heard bad things about that.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. That's not the one that's being used these days. Though.
Yeah. But here we are. Yeah, we've got a pretty good look. I'm loving this top lane here. We're duking it out back and forth. Like this Jax here is definitely going to be able to put some damage onto this Mundo for sure. I love the chroma he has. I love the purple suit.
Looking pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
Going to work, going to town on this top lane. Feeling pretty good about it. We were talking about these are some of the top tier skins in the game.
Yeah.
We got the Prestige Syndra. We got the Strike Paladin Lucian. We got the Corporate Mundo and the Super Galaxy Rumble.
Yeah. I think we were both like, oh yeah, we forgot that the Strike Paladin Lucian existed.
Yeah, I definitely did. When did that even come out? Was that last year?
I don't think it was I mean, well, technically last season. It came out like sort of. It like came out before Worlds, I think. Like Camille, it was like Camille, Lucian, and like something else. I don't remember who the third person was.
Was it like Leona or something?
I have no clue.
All right. Well, back to things that are happening on the Rift. I think that we're getting a pretty quiet early stage. Could be expected with the Rumble versus Graves matchup in the jungle.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of some deep trading in the mid lane. The ganking potential is pretty low in this game because all of the lanes are pretty safe. We'll see if a gank can come down in the mid lane though.
Yeah, number 2, Ginger in some trouble here. Random players come in through the jungle. He's incredibly low. Good stun, but he's going to get that shield at the last moment there, so he's going to live. As Loki Dosi comes on a hiccup onto the bot lane. They're flashing forward, kind of get that last bit of damage. They're going to be able to pick it up on the Loki Dosi there. So first blood is drawn down to the bot lane here as Rough Beans continues to take more harassment damage on the Phoenix main, but the trade is definitely in favor of the Ezreal. I don't think he can get anywhere close to this lane right here is Rough Beans. Ooh, in some rough waters right there, but gonna have to back away. Is random player, are you looking to gank right now?
Yeah, trying to help out around the map. Not much else to do, really. I mean, all the camps just on the cooldown. The Krug's just coming back up now, so that could be the next spot of going to as the jungler. But I think that
Ooh, good bubble. Random player's in some trouble here. Hiccup has finally come back to the lane. Ignite is ticking onto him, but I don't think they're going to be able to find the kill this time. But yeah, this is looking a lot better for the red team here. Having to fight against a more traditional lane is definitely giving them a lot of a better time here. And you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was the Heimerdinger the whole time that was causing them the most amount of trouble.
Well, at least with an Ezreal, it's a lot harder to defend your Soraka from a gank. I feel confident in asserting that at the very minimum. And getting that first kill onto Loki Dosi, that's what we wanted to see last game, and this time it's coming true. Loki Dosi now going to have a lot more agency in the bot lane. Gonna try to set up around this first Drake. Not gonna be a Chemtech soul this time around. I'm once again getting the sense that we're going to get a lot of Chemtech souls at the beginning of the season, but not going to be this game because it's the first dragon instead. With all these enchanters on the map, though, the single Drake buff going to be pretty useful for whoever can pick it up.
Yeah, for sure. Is Hiccup once again being focused down by the Lucian here in order to try to get some kills onto them here. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. What do you think about them just trying to focus down Hiccup out of this lane instead of focusing on the rough beans? Do you think it's just because Soraka's just easier to kill?
Well, I mean, Soraka can't heal herself. She can only heal her teammate. Well,
Right.
she can heal herself, but she has to land Q to be able to do so.
Mhm.
So, focusing the enchanter is usually the right call, especially when it's Soraka. So it's
Yeah.
good targeting, and I mean, I would just trust these players anyways because they're
Yeah.
like masters, grandmasters players.
Mhm.
But they have the idea that I already thought was the right idea. So that just confirms my belief.
Yeah, better genetics here, popping the ultimate in order to live through this. Eddie Spaghetti is taken incredibly low, but he can't quite finish off the damage there. In the second half of the Graves Q is going to be able to find the kill on the Mundo in the top lane.
Yeah, quick thinking there on the quick draw. Random player able to pick up the kill. And definitely one of the strong carry potential champions here is that Graves. So random player already having one good performance on the Belveth. Now looking to follow it up with another strong one on this Graves.
Yeah, as now there's going to be the dive onto the bot lane here of the blue team. Loki Dosi takes them pretty low as random player shows back up again in the mid lane, tries to use the full combo to take it out number 2 Ginger. But it looks like they're not going to be able to find the kill there so far. 400 gold in the lead. Rendezvous Wolfpack looking, or Wolfpack Rendezvous here, looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's just about even. Random player on the warpath trying to find a gank in this bot lane as well. We'll see if it works out.
Yeah. They're going to be in some trouble here. Exhaust is already down onto the Lucian. They're trying to get some good damage onto this random player. They're going to be able to get it low. Can Loki Dosi turn it around? He has not used the culling just quite yet, but these HP bars are insanely low. They can't play around. So it looks like they're just going to grab the kill on the Graves, back away.
Yeah, it might be a little bit fortunate that Rough Beans was just about out of mana there. I'm a little surprised to see no tier in the early investments going for the longsword.
Eddie Spaghetti looking for better genetics here, but can't quite finish off the kill. So it's going to be better genetics getting out of there. He might not have gotten the kill, but did force out the ghost.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of an invade as well. Learning Brain going to use that advantage out of the top lane and mid lane to go towards this blue buff.
Yeah, and he does get it. Fate sealed over the wall. Random player goes down. Learning Brain going to be able to pick up a good kill for themselves here. 3 kills in the lead, and with the jungler down, they have a roam from Phoenix main. They're just going to look for this early Rift Herald here, securing the second out of the first 4 objectives here.
I haven't been paying much attention to the vision throughout either of the first 2 games, but there is like legitimately 0 wards on the map right up until a moment ago.
Oh no! Eddie Spaghetti steals the Rift Herald, steals the buff, throws down the equalizer, trying to get a kill back onto Eddie Spaghetti, but the damage is done. Steals it with a counter strike, and oh no, random player comes in. Ezreal ultimate from downtown! Oh, good kill. Number 2 Ginger now dashes over the wall, looking for Subaru Natsuki here, but not going to be able to find. He's going to have to peel away. Looks to re-enter. Tidal Wave comes across, but only knocks Graves into the air here, so they're going to have to back away at the end of the day.
Yeah, already starting to see some item spikes coming through. Hiccup dropping a bit low on the culling, but what I'm looking at is that we're gonna get, I think it's gonna be Divine Sunderer coming up pretty shortly for Rough Beans. Going to be already Umbral Glaive complete for random player. That's always gonna be the earliest item spike of the game. But we're already getting close to these first item power spikes pretty early on, so we can see some more advanced fighting going on between these champions coming up even as early as the next Drake in 1 minute.
Yeah, for sure. And Ezreal, with the Essence Reaver here, is telling me that they might look for a lethality build, which I'm not completely opposed to. Oh, hiccup. In some trouble. Equalizer comes down below half HP inside the Flame Spitter. Good bubble onto the Ezreal here. Below half HP. Nothing left in the tank, though. So Ezreal's going to be able to get out of there. Graves down here to support as well. But I think they might be able to just get more attention down in this bottom lane here. More pressure more damage onto this tier 1 turret. And just probably make their way towards the dragon in just a second here.
Yeah, this has been just brutal with the Lucian Nami putting so much pressure out, getting a couple kills already on Hiccup, making this lane pretty much a nightmare for Wolfpack Rendezvous. They're setting themselves up to get priority around this Drake as well. Learning Brain in the area. We'll see if they go right on towards it. Random players in the area too, so this could be contested. But I think they might just have to give this one up because their bot lane's so weak right now.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're seeing the third of the first 4 objectives here being claimed once again by the red team here. And they're going to be, oh, well, I guess, yeah, this is the third one, but they've only claimed 2 with the first Rift Herald going over to the blue side there with that steal. The Hex Gates are going to be active, so that's going to be a powerful soul for the red team if they look to claim it.
Interesting itemization here from Subaru to go for the crown. I think that in the matchup against Yone, it gets broken pretty easily, but it lets you survive through one initial engagement. So that apparently is enough to warrant taking it over something like a Luden's or even like a Leandry's or Everfrost potentially. So we'll have to see if that ends up having a big usefulness throughout this game. But it's something that we don't see a lot of, and an interesting adaptation to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Is Eddie Spaghetti and Better Genetics continue to brawl up in this top lane here. They've taken a whole bunch of damage on Better Genetics. He's going to be forced to flap the Ghost here because he popped. He saw a random player coming in from the bot side here. The Wish is going to be good to keep Eddie Spaghetti alive for just a little bit longer here, but the Learning Brain is going to be the one picking up the kill there as random player still looking for something more here, but he's taking too much damage. Throws out the collateral damage, trying to get the return kill onto someone, but can't quite find it. It's 2 for nothing up in the top lane, even with that Soraka ultimate.
That's really well played by Better Genetics to just be right up in random player's face, not allow any more damage to come down onto Learning Brain. Learning Brain soaks the damage coming out from Eddie Spaghetti while the kill goes down, and then it just gets turned back around with Better Genetics landing on top of random player. Just outplay in the 2v2, and we're seeing a lot better play from Shining Light in this second game.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, this is almost a complete 180 from what we saw in the previous game, right? They're looking a lot more aggressive in this early game. They have a lot more champions to fully take advantage of it. And now, look at this bot lane one more time. Rough Beans in a rough spot. Loki Dosi looking for the dive here. They're low on HP. That's going to be the Nami W, giving them just a little bit more movement speed. The Equalizer comes down. Rough Beans taking a hole real low. And that's going to be a double kill for Loki Dosi down in the bottom lane.
I think it was a mistake to step out from under that tower, but it's just been a rough go of it. They might have died even if they stayed under the tower, so it's just hard to come up with anything at this point for the bot lane of Wolfpack Rendezvous. They've just been camped, and they've been put under their tower, and they've just had nothing they can do about it, so... we'll see if Learning Brain's a little too far forward here.
Yeah, Learning Brain's taken incredibly low. Random player still looking for the fight here. Number 2 Ginger's going to be pulled back to their soul here as Lucian takes down that turret down to the bottom lane. They're not going to be able to find the kill on the Learning Brain. That's important. He was able to get away with roaming into the jungle that deep.
Yep, I think the Scatter of the Week wasn't perfectly placed, but even if it was, I think that Learning Brain's in a very strong spot right now. Not so easy to just take down. First item with the Zonias is a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
I think we'll see if this fight ends up.
Yeah, some fight up in the top lane here. Better Genetics has popped that ultimate there in order to stay alive for a little bit longer. He's going to heal up a whole bunch. I think he has the Anathema's Chains onto Eddie Spaghetti right now. Yeah, that's correct. So that's going to be interesting to see as number 2 Ginger throws out the fate sealed here for Rough Beans. And yeah, Rough Beans nowhere to go. Underestimating the damage from number 2 Ginger there. Better Genetics now in some trouble with the top lane here. Here comes a big tidal wave. Going to be able to keep Eddie Spaghetti away from Better Genetics here. There's a huge equalizer onto the blue team here. They've already taken so much collateral damage comes across, and there's fighting all across the map here. As Loki Dosi looking for the kill on the Subaru here, but not going to be able to find it. As now random players re-entered the fight, trying to heal up off of that, but the grievous wounds and can't even get through with the wish as well. They go down, and it's a lot harder in this game with now 11 kills and 4,000 gold up. It's Shining Light White Knights.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of that top lane trade, there was just so much damage from the first strike coming out, as well as the equalizer. That tandem able to set the table, able to knock down the kills at the end of the fight, diving under tower even to pick them up. And this map belongs to Shining Light White Knights right now. There's just nothing that can be done about it. It's just a waiting game to get back onto the map. But this isn't the type of scaling that we saw last game from Wolfpack Rendezvous either. They're in a lot tougher of a position to continue, as they kind of need to get online pretty fast here to be able to contest. If they give up the Hextech Soul, I think that this is just curtains for them.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a comp that scales pretty well, right? But the Ezreal doesn't seem to isn't itemizing towards the Muramana, which is typically like the Ezreal scaling item. We're seeing which is still in this build, by the way. Like if you go Essence Reaver, typically we see a lot of Ezreal still build the tier into the Muramana as well. We still have the Syndra on the map, who is a scaling champion, right? She does scale well later, and so is Soraka and Jax to a degree as well. But we're just, these champions don't scale as hard as the previous team, and now they're in a position where they're so far behind that this scaling is going to take a lot longer for them to do. And, Dragon Soul is up next. They're going to be forced to 5v5, or at least look for skirmishes against a comp that wants to fight them 5v5.
Yeah, we'll see if there's going to be an opportunity to answer here, but for the time being, Shining Light have the opportunity to keep pushing forward. If they can take this mid-tier one, that'll just accelerate their pace.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, this is so many ultimates being spent in order to get the duo lane there. They're going to be able to get a double kill for the Rumble here, as that was a tidal wave into equalizer, into culling. There's not a real good way to get away from that. Loki Dosi looking real strong right now. So is Learning Brain here.
Yeah, Learning Brain now 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. Maybe gonna have to upgrade that one to a Medjai's. Going to be in a pretty strong spot no matter what the case is. But these tier 1 towers starting to fall down. We had one pretty early on in the bot lane, but now the top lane tier 1 down as well, giving Mundo more opportunity to go where he pleases.
Yeah, as this game continues, we're looking at 18.5 minutes into this game, and we're looking at about 6,000 gold in the lead. Is Shining Light White Knights at this moment? They're up 11 kills. They're up 2 turrets. They're up 3 dragons. They're tied in Rift Heralds, but that's a stat that's not going to matter in about a minute, so that doesn't truly matter too much. But yeah, I mean, this is looking like a game that the Shining Light White Knights could run away with, because random player, whole lot of trouble right now, shows out the collateral damage to try to go away, but number 2 Ginger is on the side here. They're going to use that rocket belt in order to get close to the Graves and finish off the kill. Goes Golden to survive the burst damage from Subaru Natsuki here, and they're going to get away with it. They're going to get away with murder, 1-for-0 down the bot lane.
It just seems like right now there's no opportunity for Wolfpack to start the plays. Every play that gets started is being initiated by Shining Light. They're able to force plays where they want them. They're able to do things like this, just one-shot enemy squishies on the map. They just have all of the priority because there's no way to force a play for the other team.
Yeah. And there's just so many of these stray kills all over the place just because there's 20 Medjai stacks on this oh my god, I'm brain farting really bad. for Rumble. Yeah, as now but Better Genetics might actually be in some trouble here. Eddie Spaghetti here coming in clutch, but Loki Dosi comes in from the side here. They might be able to finish them off here, but good way dashing over the wall in order to dodge the stun. Fate Seal comes in, 1-2 kills for the red team here, now catapulting them to 18 kills here at 20 minutes. They're just going right to the Baron.
Yeah, they should be able to take this one pretty easily. And with the Baron buff, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to start taking some towers out of the base to be able to clean up the tier 2s pretty easily. Got their gold lead out over 11k now with the Baron being taken. They're just going to become more and more powerful with the purple worm going down in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is going to be real tough to deal with because once again, this nearly fully stacked Medjai's Rumble here, like the scaling on Rumble's ultimate is insane, right? That's already it's dealing 1,000 damage, I think total, like 1670 is the total damage over 5 seconds, and the slow is insane as well. Like we see how much damage these folks are taking while trying to fight the Rumble, and it's just too much. I don't think any of them have any sort of magic resist outside of the Syndra.
I'm just looking at the score. When was the last time that Wolfpack Rendezvous actually got anything? They just
Yeah.
have not gotten anything for a really long time. It's so difficult to have to play out a game like this, but you want to be able to win every game that you get a chance to, so
Yeah.
they kind of have to stick around.
Oh my god, even he didn't even use an ultimate. The Flame Spitter is too good. Learning Brain is godlike. Fate sealed onto Supernatsuki here. The Equalizer comes across, and they're taking damage here. That's going to be the Wish coming across onto Natsuki here. Going to be able to heal it up by Hiccup. Here comes the dive in from Eddie Spaghetti. Looking for a little bit more. Gets the double counter strike there. Good silence on the Learning Brain. He flashes forward looking for Hiccup here. Taken incredibly low. He's going to go golden, and Soraka's going to go down. Eddie Spaghetti gets a big stun, but can't quite finish off Learning Brain. Going to be able to get away with that one as they get 4 kills in this kind of weird cross-map skirmish here. And Better Genetics is just wailing on this top lane turret here.
Oh, trying to find the snipe, but you can't even finish the job when you hit the ulti. This is just the state of the game now. It's just a little bit too far gone. Better Genetics going to be able to take out this top lane in him. The Hextech Soul is going to go over to Shining Light.
Yeah, and at this point, it's just a win more, right? They're just so far ahead. They're 15,000 gold in the lead. It's at this stage where it's just like, yeah, it'll take a comedy, 2 comedies of errors, in order to get back into a state of the game where it's just even possible to come back from, right? And take a look at even this is exemplified by just how many people are wailing on this Mundo right now, and they just cannot deal the damage to him. He just turns around, slaps him once. He does so much damage. They're diving onto Better Genetics a little bit more here. They might be able to find it here, but Loki Dosi is godlike. He gets 2. He gets 3. Can he get more? Are we going to see the pentakill come out? No. Yone is going to steal it. Looks like number 2, Ginger, is going to be able to steal away the pentakill from the Lucian there. He's got the quadra kill. GG, well played. They're going to throw out the FF here. They were going to be able to kill the Nexus anyway, but that's going to be game number 2 going over to Shining Light White Knights.
Yeah, just a clean closeout. They got an early advantage and never looked back. Shining Light making a strong statement after what was a difficult game 1 for them, that they are just as powerful in this series as Wolfpack Rendezvous, and pushing us on towards a decisive game 3. That's what you always hope for, is to get the most out of the series. And both of these teams putting on a good show for us today, Shinkari.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have the hyper aggressive early team up against the team that like scaling, like getting to that late game. So it's always fun to see how these 2 types of teams match up. So we're going to have to see how things change up in this game number 3 here. Don't go anywhere. The exciting conclusion to this series is going to happen in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, Style fans. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58. Here we are on the Rift, or here we are in picks and bans of game number 3 of Shining Light White Knights versus Wolfpack Rendezvous. This is the last game of the series. It all comes down to this, and both these teams tied up. We saw Shining Light White Knights able to come out on top of that last game after getting a huge win in the early game. And once again, first picking the Nami. Wolfpack Rendezvous answers with the steal of the Lucian here. Now, whether we're going to see the Sona or the Lulu here will be interesting. I think both of them are good with the Lucian here. Tiger58, how you doing?
I think it should be Braum. I
You
think
think it should be Braum? Yeah,
Lucian
I
Braum.
agree.
That's my call.
Yeah,
But,
back
but
to
they don't really.
season 3 time, baby. Let's go.
I don't think they even need to pick support right now. They're okay to pick it, but I think if I was in their position, I probably would have wanted to just snatch the Syndra up again because it was a strong force in game number 1. And I think that Subaru was pretty much 0-0-0 all throughout like the first 25 or 20-ish minutes of game number 2 until the base defense. I don't remember what minute mark they started having to defend their base at, but we're gonna have a spicy bot lane here with the Draven versus Lucian matchup.
Yeah, I mean it is going to be a it is certainly a spicy matchup for sure. Draven is a character, and I think I've said this on stream before, is a very polarizing character, very binary. When he's up, he's up. He's very very good, but when he's down, he's really down. So you're basically taking a gamble here. Yes, our early game is better than yours, and we're going to prove it. Draven and Nami's level 1, insane, but Nami has to start E instead of W or Q.
Yeah, I think that honestly, both of these 80 carries would be happier with the other side's support. But we are seeing some picks that we've seen earlier in this series coming out. The Syndra actually flipping over to number 2 Ginger looked pretty decent on the Yone last game, but we talked about number 2 Ginger likes to play the control mages. Syndra is in that style, but also is a champion that's more powerful in the early stages of the game than the Orianna that we saw in game number 1. So we'll see what the response is going to be from Subaru, who's just been playing Syndra all series. And the Belveth back for random players, so there certainly will be no lack of damage for Wolfpack Rendezvous.
Yeah, for sure. This is now looking to be a pretty solid. Once again, Wolfpack Rendezvous opting for a bit of a scaling comp. Once again, Lucian is not the scaling character, right? This is clearly like a fourth ban, if anything. But Belveth and Lulu, these are two characters that go really well the later this game goes. But I like that Shining Light White Knights have picked up the Syndra here. This is a comfortable character for number 2 Ginger to play, and Wolfpack Rendezvous have been favoring it a whole lot here. So this is actually an insanely good first bit of picks and bans here that I love so much. We've seen the first bans just kind of fly by. They've stayed the same pretty much the entire time. But this first round of picks here have been, hey, what are our strengths? What are our opponent's strengths? Let's try to take away from them the things that they like and give ourselves some comfort as well. And I also love this as well. Hovering the Silas could be huge. There's a lot of very powerful ultimates that Silas actually likes on Shining Light White Knights so far.
I think that the Silas version of the Syndra ult is just a little bit weaker than Syndra's actual ult because he can't put any of the balls down beforehand and he can't scatter them afterwards. So making the pivot to Ziggs here, going to give some extra range. I like Ziggs in this matchup to be able to put down some poke. The all-in is still better for Syndra, but I think that Ziggs is going to feel a little bit better in the matchup and allow for the rest of the map to have their opportunities. I mean, the bot lane should be pretty heavily contested, I think, and top lane's going to have counter pick, and we've seen Eddie Spaghetti playing champions that like to get a lot of resources and get the opportunity to scale up. With the Jax lock in for better genetics, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Nasus coming back here onto the table for game number 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, I wouldn't be surprised either. I feel like the Nasus might get bullied by the Jax. Ooh, this is a jungle Jax. Jax in the jungle. I think this is fine, right? We haven't really seen these junglers really interact with each other, and Jax has some decent ganks early. All right, we're gonna see maybe the Fiora with the hover. They're up against the Orange, so I wouldn't. I think that might be fine here. What do you think?
Yeah, the Fiora could be good. I still think Nasus would be better because having some of that front line is something that Fiora doesn't do as well as Nasus. But Fiora would really slam the lane a little harder. Jace also going to slam. Jace actually changes what this comp does for Wolfpack
Okay.
Rendezvous. Now they're not a team fight comp, they are a poke comp. Poke and assassinate,
Yeah.
particularly. They want to get the health bars down of Shining Light before the team fight can begin. Ornn obviously going to help Shining Light have probably an advantage in the team fights, although they don't have the best team fighting comp. They have the better team fighting comp probably, but they are susceptible to getting this poke rained down upon them by the Ziggs, by the Jace, and then if they let Bel'Veth get the first reset, we saw what random player can do in game number 1 in that base fight, able to pick up a triple kill from like 30% HP at the beginning of the fight. There's some
Yeah.
absurd stuff going on, so that's definitely a potential return. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this top lane matchup, seeing how Eddie Spaghetti plays out this Jace.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has the range advantage against the Ornn here, and Ornn typically likes matchups of typically likes matchups against other tanks where you can just outdamage them. The problem is right now he might be able to get some good bursts with the E plus headbutt combo onto the Jace, but for the most part, I feel like this Jace, while it's a matchup we haven't seen a whole lot of, I think Jace is favored here, right? Like he's definitely has more abilities to work with earlier on. He has the range advantage if he's looking for it, and then can bash, and then I think importantly can knock Ornn away so that all Ornn can do is really just do those short engages and not really get anything off of it, right? He goes in for the fire breath, gets the clap, that's it. Jace bashes him away, gets some auto attacks back.
Well, the question in my mind is there any possibility to flex it to Jax top and Ornn jungle? Because I think Jax would have a better matchup into Jace. Still probably not the most favorable, but I think Ornn just kind of gets beat down from range that he can't really respond to. Jace should be able to easily win this matchup, and I think that there's not even a whole lot of potential to set up ganks. I mean, they have some CC abilities, but they're all situational, and you can always just flash out of them. So I think it's going to be really difficult for Shining Light to punish the Jace pick in the top side unless Eddie Spaghetti ends up making some mistakes, which means that there's going to be opportunity, I think, in the top lane specifically, but in all 3 lanes, it's possible that Wolfpack can get the priority, and having priority in 3 lanes is huge in competitive play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, having that priority is going to be very important, especially for this Bel'Veth on this top half of the map, right? Having this Jace gain priority in the lane over the Ornn is going to be very important for Bel'Veth to get that additional Lavender to help her scale into that late game, right? We're looking at a lot of very squishy characters for Shining Light White Knights here, right? They really only have the one tank in Ornn, and then Jax is going to be building half damage, half HP, right? He's not going to be going into full damage or even full tankiness, right? He'll probably have like a Divine Sunderer, a Spear of Shojin, maybe even a lifeline item like a Maw of Malmortius or a Sterix Gauge, right? These are a lot of items that have a half and half, but doesn't really commit to one, right? So because of that, Jace and Bel'Veth and even Lucian have an easier time a lot against a lot of these champions because they can just itemize into some lethality, and especially Belveth as well, because the attack speed that she gains from her passive is just going to carry a lot of the damage that she's building straight into. And we even saw in the first game, she opted for the oh man, I can't. It was like Phobos or something. I can't remember the name of the item. It looks like the Kaisa's helmet.
Oh, Jack Show.
Yeah, Jack. Is that what it's called? Jack Show?
Yeah.
God, I'm never gonna remember that.
You just have to remember that it's a whole void creature, and
Hmm.
it has the same like naming structure as all the
Yeah,
void creatures. Or you could just call it the protein, because
the
protein, like,
protein.
it's like the ability in Pokemon.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
It lets
Protean.
you morph into something different.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. I mean, so yeah, I think that Wolfpack Rendezvous has an angle here to really contest Shining Light White Knights, even though Shining Light White Knights has a more traditional comp. And I think the biggest lane to keep an eye on is this bot lane because Loki Dosi's on the Draven, and because this is such a volatile lane because Draven is in the game.
Yeah, what we've been seeing from the first couple of games from Rough Beans is that he just wants to avoid combat for most of the time on the Heimerdinger, on the Ezreal, doing the best job possible to avoid engaging. Lucian, not as much of a champion that wants to avoid engaging, but it will be interesting to see if there actually ends up being a lot of fighting, or if it is just using the Lucian dash to run away and trying to make sure that the lane goes even so that you don't give over the adoration cash outs to Loki Dosi's Draven.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me here is going to see how is this Lulu, honestly, because polymorph is going to be so incredibly important against Draven here. Being able to negate his 3 attack burst window if he goes Hail of Blades, or even with Nami's Tidecaller Blessing, is going to be very, very important. And Draven is real low range, so Lulu will be able to just normally be within that range and still be able to polymorph the Draven.
Shout out to all the high skill ceiling enchanters out there. Yeah, definitely got some skill in the enchanters. Don't always get the respect from it, but
Yeah.
I know that you're out there, and I appreciate the people who play them out to their full effect. Landing those polymorphs like you got it, landing those Nami bubbles like you
Hmm.
got to make the best use out of the champion. And like you're saying, pretty volatile bot lane. Got some champions in the jungle that can maybe look to gank them out a little bit. I don't know if the lore is that Jax and Belveth know about each other, but if they did, they would really not like each other. So I'm excited to see them fighting it out.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift of game number 3 of Shining Light White Knights versus Wolfpack Rendezvous. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, Style fans. Welcome back to Style Esports and welcome to Summoner's Rift for the final time this evening. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Tiger58. We are on the Rift of game number 3. Shining Light White Knights is on the blue side, and Wolf Pack Rendezvous is on the red. We are ready to get this game underway. We've got a pretty volatile lane 1 with a very powerful level 1 if they are looking for it. And we've got some very interesting picks up in the top lane. Haven't seen a Jace in a long time, so this is bound to be an interesting match for sure. Tiger, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious what the plan is for better genetics. Only picking up the refillable potion at the beginning. Maybe looking to craft an item with the Ornn passive pretty early on. I'm not up to date on the Ornn techniques, but that seems like a pretty interesting option to go towards. I don't expect to see any ganks early on from these junglers. Probably going to be full clears. But we'll see if there's going to be any skirmishing around the scuttle crabs once they spawn.
Yeah, as now we're already seeing it right here. This is the 80 carry with arguably the best level 1 in the game. There's just so much damage on these Draven early axes here that not a lot of bot lanes can deal with here, especially an enchanter that might not have that whimsy level 1 here. So yeah, they've got the glitter lanes. We're gonna have to wait for level 2 for any sort of answer for this Draven here.
Hiccup doing a pretty decent job trading it back, though. Not going to be laying low just yet. Going to try to make the health bar trades go down. Ended up using a potion, though, so advantage Loki Dosi.
But is it really an advantage? He has biscuits.
Oh, true. All right. Well, we'll see if it ends up being the biscuits helping out enough to make the advantage neutralized. But whatever the case, I think that these bot lanes probably going to be feeling pretty conservative despite playing this volatile matchup, because if they do fall behind, they're both on champions that don't fare well from behind. So they got to know that they're going to win if they end up taking a trade.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to note that it is a little odd to me that Loki Dosi is opting for the lethal tempo here, but I'll have to look in the top lane though. Learning Brain gonna get bashed away by Eddie Spaghetti here, not gonna land that stun. I was going to say, usually I'd expect that if they're looking to get a lead early, I would have expected to see Hail of Blades out of the Draven here, which we've seen pretty much in the past. But the lethal tempo is still good, right? I was just expecting with how Loki Dosi has been playing to just want a lead early, and the best way to do that on Draven is to use that the Hail of Blades. But it's like he's just going to slam back and forth these big axes.
Yeah, I think that by going for the lethal tempo, that makes it a little bit more mid-game focused. And if you can get the advantage, then the lethal tempo will help you out more.
Yeah.
I like this cover from Random Player.
Yeah, this is good because here comes Learning Brain in from the side here. They've already got a decent amount of damage on Eddie Spaghetti here. Let's look if they're going to flash onto him, but they've already kind of moved through Random Player a little too much here, and they're going to be able to get first blood here as Random to Better Genetics here. Now in some trouble, flashing forward with the to the skies. It's going to go down. Better Genetics is going to be fine there. They're able to find first blood up in the top lane. It goes over to Bel'Veth.
Yeah, once again, Random Player getting an early kill out of the jungle. Going to be able to use this one to fuel the Bel'Veth gameplay like we saw in game number 1. Eddie Spaghetti going to be able to pick up the call as well. Going to look to become the strongest champion out of the top lane. And I think he's well on his way to doing so.
Yeah, now Better Genetics looking to fight Random Player here, but really only going to be able to get out that burst damage and a turret shot and back away here. So, not exactly ideal here, but still going to be fine. Loki Dosi not within range to capitalize off of that bubble. Still, 5 minutes in, we're still looking like this game is still pretty competitive and still on the edge of a knife still, like this whole series has been.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the jungle pathing from Random Player. It's been so good that he just runs out of camps to do and has to sit in a lane to wait for the camps to respawn, and he's always in the right lane because of that. It's just been a really good performance throughout the first
Hmm.
3 games. I guess all 3 games of this series. It's just been the camps are always cleared, and it's always random players showing up in a lane.
Yeah, is random player gonna opt for a Noon Quiver this time? So it looks like they're looking for a more damagey build as opposed to the tankier build they had with the Jack Show. There is Learning Brain gonna be able to get the stun onto Rough Beans, but immediate cleanse is gonna be able to get him out of that engagement right there. So Learning Brain gonna be able to make his way over towards this Hextech Drake right now, maybe just the crab. But there is some prio down in the bot lane, so maybe we see some movement up towards that Drake.
Yeah, it looks like the Scuttle Crab was claimed by Learning Brain, so I'm gonna be feeling good about that one. Pretty close to even on the clears, so keeping up pace with the clear speed of Random Player, doing a pretty decent job. Able to get a gank off towards the bot lane there, force out the cleanse from Rough Beans. We'll have to see if there's gonna be any follow up to that coming out, but right now Rough Beans playing it pretty safe. Gonna be all right to just recall, get that first serrated Dirk, and
Hmm.
that'll help a lot for the lane phase.
Yeah, we've been seeing this all game with the Lucian so far. The entire series, we've seen a serrated Dirk first and then build right into the Gale Force. And this is just a lot of just. I think this is a really good pickup here because if you're playing against an Enchanter support, right, they're not going to be stacking armor this early. Right, so just getting that extra bit of lethality sometimes is really, really good. And Lucian's passive also just helps you just get fake attack speed, I'll say, right? Because it doesn't really increase your attack speed, but it does give you 2 auto attacks in real quick succession. So really, really
It's
good
like
way to
Hail of Blades. It's like
yeah.
having free Hail of Blades.
Yeah, huh.
But with the first strike, that just adds up how much gold
Hmm.
it's going to give you. Uh, so far, not any huge leads breaking out anywhere on the map, but a slight gold advantage overall in favor of Wolfpack Rendezvous. They're off to a good start. They're kind of in the position they want to be in. I'd like to see them more heavily rotate towards the Rift Herald than we saw them do in the first game because they have this Belveth. Belveth loves Rift Herald. Rotate to Rift Herald, help Belveth take it, and then use it to expand that gold lead.
Hmm. Yeah, so we'll probably see at least some attention on this top half of the map in just a little bit here, especially with that back from Ornn. Um, or maybe not with the teleport. But it should be noted that Belveth does like getting that Rift Herald. She does get more stacks of lavender with by picking up the those neutral objectives. So really, really important for Belveth to look for these Rift Heralds here. So we'll probably see some attention on this top half of the map here. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and it gives Belveth true form as well when she picks up the Rift Herald. So I think that's
Hmm.
the really big part of that. Can use that to get some extra advantage in any skirmishes. You can even waterfall that, go Rift Herald, and then take that true form to contest the Drake. Looks like a little bit quiet from both of these junglers on the early parts of this game going towards the Drake. But Rift Herald will be started up now.
Yeah, that's the flash. That's the leap. That's the counter strike onto Subaru Natsuki in the mid lane. They're going to be able to pick up that kill. Easy peasy, tying it up 1-1 and taking down this gold lead to only 200. But now Belveth is in some trouble here. We have Jace moving down from this top side here. We might see a fight over this Rift Herald here. I think it was already secured by the red team here, but now random player has to fight Learning Brain here. Might be able to find the kill, but his number 2 Ginger's going to be able to find one, find two with the Syndra ultimate there as well. Double kill over there. They're going to deny the eyeball as well. Okay, actually no, Jace picks it up. So they will still be able to still get those stacks of lavender. We'll still be able to get those that eyeball, but they pay for it so much now. 3-0 on this Syndra right now.
Yeah, number 2 Ginger in a really strong spot coming off of that play. And now with the Syndra being ahead and already being a strong all-in champ, I wonder if number 2 Ginger is going to get the opportunity to push out that mid wave and maybe roam around to the side lanes. Loki Dosi's been stacking up. Let's see how many adoration stacks right now. 221. That would be a really nice cash in if they can get it. Maybe get a roam towards the bot side with some help from the jungle. That would look really good here, I think. So we'll see if they can get that done. Maybe roam towards the top side, also an option, maybe more gankable because Eddie Spaghetti's been pushing up. But whatever the case, I think that getting the advantage moved into the side lanes as well is the optimal play here
Yeah.
for Shining Light White Knights.
Yeah, especially because Loki Dosi, I think it's like it's 2.5 gold. It's 2.5 gold per stack plus 40. So it's at right now it's 500. It's like six. I think it's 625 gold. It might be something different. 250 to 500. Yeah, it should be about 625 gold. Plus 40, so 665 gold for the Draven. Like, that's a lot of gold. So I really expect to see Jax on this bottom half of the map now, because that's nearly 1,000 gold worth for a kill. That's going to set Draven so far ahead over this Lucian with just one kill.
Yeah, right now it's just a pretty even game still. 1K is the gold lead off of the back of that fight. Pretty much all of that going to be on number 2 Ginger. Got that Leandry's complete. Going to be in a pretty strong spot here for a while. And the first Drake goes as well in favor of Shining Light White Knights. But I think that if they can get that kill with the Draven, cash in those stacks, that makes this game a lot different than it is right now. Still pretty close. It could go either way, but I think that picking up that kill would make all the difference.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, it's additional gold on top of the 300 that you get for a kill. So at this point, it might as well be 1,000 gold. So this is an insane amount of gold that goes over to Draven, and he's coming back to lane with a fully built Eclipse. He might as well come back, get a kill, and then be able to buy just another item on top of it. Like, that's insane. Like a BF sword, I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, so we'll see if that ends up happening. Right now, random players still getting to clear out through the jungle. Had that one fight around the Rift Herald, but trying to scale up. Rough Beans trying to get some poke down. Not to a great deal of effect, though. Not able to set the health bar low enough for Loki Dosi that it can't be topped off back to full by the ebb and flow. So with the reset, we'll see if that's going to be enough. The first item not quite complete, not Gale Force yet, because the serrated Dirk is in the inventory. But Rough Beans having as much gold invested as a full item, so going to be alright in the matchup, I think.
Yeah, we do finally see the Rift Herald popped by Eddie Spaghetti here. Not exactly ideal for them as a whole team. Just kind of have to use it before it expires up in the top lane here. It'll be good for Eddie Spaghetti. You would have liked to have it on the jungler just to kind of put it in a lane that might be suffering, or just to give it just a laner just a little bit more breathing room. But it's what they could get after that kind of I don't want to say disastrous, but definitely not exactly ideal fight around the Rift Herald last time.
Yeah, and it's even worse because Rift Herald got nerfed, so only able to get the first plate with it. Eddie Spaghetti was able to take the second plate on his own by just auto-attacking the tower.
Ooh, flashing forward, throwing out the ultimate, knowing the damage potential of that. Number 2, Ginger picks up another kill. Now 4-0 in this mid lane and up 9 CS over their opponent. This is a pretty big lead for Syndra.
Yeah, I think you could have figured with the Leandries that it would be enough, but still an aggressive play, and number 2 Ginger now going to be massively in the lead. Probably more than 1,000, yeah, 1,500 in the mid lane, which means that the rest of the map is leads in favor of Wolfpack Rendezvous, but it doesn't matter so far.
Yeah. They're looking for the kill here, but they've already used a couple ultimates, but we're not able to find the kill onto Rough Beans there. So both Tidal Wave and Spinning Whirling Axes were spent, and not able to find it just yet, but we still have an advantage down in this bottom lane here.
Yeah, it's going to be covered by random player, but I don't think that anything's going to break out further here. Just trying to play it safe now. Rough Beans knowing that the task ahead is to not give that kill over to Loki Dosi. Going to be able to survive that for now. Top lane, I think that Better Genetics is doing a really good job here. The CS lead is actually in favor of the Ornn and the Ornn Jace matchup. That's really surprising to me,
Yeah.
and that's a really well done job. I think that making that top lane a non-factor as well is just where you want to see this matchup at if you are a Shining Light fan. And now Eddie Spaghetti gonna get ganked.
Yeah, Learning Brain, that's going to be the Ornhorn coming in from downtown, but he doesn't even need it, as Learning Brain and Syndra are going to be the one picking up the kill there. Better Genetics going to get some more free time alone up on this top half of the map, and Learning Brain and number 2 Ginger on this Rift Herald again.
Yeah, I think that they're going to probably get better use out of the Rift Herald than we saw from Wolfpack Rendezvous. We got the Drake coming up right now, so it looks like Random Player is going to try to go that direction. Probably going to get there in time to take that, even up the Drake count. We'll see. What Drake do you think is going to be the Soul Shinkari?
Oh, Chemtech.
Chemtech? I'm on
Chemtech.
board with that. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be Chemtech. Gotta experiment with the new Soul. We'll see if the Rift Herald's actually going to get value here, because it's up against a wave, and there's going to be a full team to answer it if they want to.
Yeah, once again, Rough Beans looking for a cheeky kill onto the bot lane here, but not able to find it just quite yet. As this Random Player diving onto number 2 Ginger here, but he's looking for a return kill onto Eddie Spaghetti. He's going to turn it into a 1-for-1 in the mid lane. Not going to get the turret either, but get a decent chunk of damage onto this mid-outer turret here.
But what a big shutdown going over to Eddie Spaghetti as well. That's a 4-0-0 Syndra being handed over. Eddie Spaghetti going to claim the kill, so already completing the second item, Manamune, and Random Player on the invade.
Yeah, Learning Brain here. You can't 1v1 this guy. You can't even get out either, because Better Genetics is ready to go too. Look at the damage onto Rough Beans, and Loki Dosey gets the kill. He cashes it in, baby. He's going to pick up the kill onto Hiccups, but Hiccups presses that wild growth button. I think he just cashed in 1,000 gold worth of adoration stacks. Let's take a look at the gold really quick. Oh my god, he's back in with 2,000.
Yeah,
I'm fairly certain he had 400 adoration stacks, which is just straight up 1,000 gold. So it's 1,040, 1,340 gold total.
All of a sudden, Shining Light is way in the lead now. They're in position. They gave over a bounty, and then they got a kill back that was worth way more than the bounty that they gave over.
Yeah.
So now they're up about 3k gold, a little bit more than that actually, and they've got the map pressure through that bot tower being taken. They're even on the Drake count, and there's still a long way to go with this game.
Yeah.
But now Loki Dosey's in a strong spot with 2.5 items complete Essence Reaver now. That's a very strong 2-item power spike, and that's going to make another power point on the map for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was really funny because Loki Dosey was like sitting in map for like a little bit. I thought he spent all of his gold like on the Essence Reaver. I was like, oh man, that's huge. Like he just went back and got a full Essence Reaver. That's gigantic. And then he was just sitting in base for a little bit longer, like just, I guess waiting on the last bit of gold he needed for the Zeal. It's funny just being like, oh, what am I gonna do with this remaining 1,100 gold? It could do anything.
Definitely not grab tier 2 boots. That's not the play. You want to get that Zeal, because Zeal gives you the movement speed. It's plus 7%.
Yeah. That's way more than boots. What do you need tier 2 boots for? Zeal. Zeal plus boots. That's better than Berserker Greaves.
So I think tier 2 boots give you 45 movement speed as opposed to the 25 of tier 1 boots. So that means that it's plus 20 when you have like 300 plus to begin with. So I think 7% actually is more than the tier 2 boots upgrade would give you.
Yeah, I mean, it's once again, it's just after having that many adoration stacks and then finally cashing it in, I feel like, man, it's just so much gold. This is what I mean too. Like, that's what that's what Draven was able to do off of one kill, right? Like, he's a snowballing character that when he's up, he's really up, right? And he's definitely in that spot right now, so much farther ahead than anyone else in the game, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, the only one else who has more gold than him is Jace up in the top lane. with like 100 more gold than him.
All right. Well, you had a hard time with Jack Show the Protein. What's the upgraded version of his name? Because that's what Better Genetics has now.
Oh, that's one. It's like the unspoken parasite. That's such a dope name. That's so
That's
cool.
pretty great. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's really metal. I love it. The unspoken parasite. That's so cool.
Props to
God.
the team that names all of the stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They do a really good job.
There's only one other item that's like that cool, and it's the upgraded Divine Sunderer because it becomes deicide. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah. I like all of them. They got like Wormfall and Sacrifice
Yeah.
is like the Kraken Slayer
Mhm.
upgrade. They got like Eye of Luden.
Yeah.
I like all of them.
Yeah, I mean they're all great. I still look. I'm gonna be faithful to the unspoken parasite and deicide. Like those are. Oh my god.
Unspoken is a pretty good adjective.
Yeah.
But we got a Drake coming up here in about 5 seconds. Looks like it won't be contested, but a top lane gank.
Yeah, Better Genetics taking incredibly low here. Random player finally going to cash in on that there. Going to put a whole bunch of damage down. Finally be able to secure that one there. As yeah, like you said, this is the Earth Drake. It's not exactly the most flashy of drakes, but it is something that is insanely good for a team that isn't going to be stacking a whole lot of resistances themselves. Just to give them just a little bit more to deal with the lethality that Jace is going to be putting out and the little bit that Lucian has here.
I like the ability or the choice on the map to go for, instead of contesting the Drake, just pick up some gold in the top lane, able to knock down a kill and get that tower. Trying to fund the Jace poke, able to get on towards that Cyrilda's third item. That's going to be pretty big in getting some more poke and allowing the rest of the poke from the rest of the team to connect as well. So I like that decision. And then maybe contest at the next Drake. I think that it shouldn't be too far out of the realm of possibility. We're within 2,000 gold now, so it should be possible. And Eddie Spaghetti taking another tower in the bot lane as well, so doing pretty well for themselves. Our Wolfpack Rendezvous in stabilizing what ended up being them falling behind a little bit when the kill went over to Loki Dosi and he cashed in like 1,500 gold off of a simple kill.
Oh my god, yeah. And now he's got the upgraded Eclipse, which name I have no idea how to pronounce that. It is inscrutable.
Syzygy or something
Syzygy?
like that.
Oh my god, I hate that. Regardless, Syzygy is now finished for Draven here and has 150 stacks of adoration now. This is if this is only 2 kills on Draven, it doesn't even matter. He's gonna have more gold than this 5-1 Syndra.
How about this Baron sneak though? It's just going to be spotted just a little bit too late on the blue orb. So just sneaking away the Baron here, really smart play by Shining Light. They're playing on the next level of macro this game. And we're going to get a quick pause here, it looks like. So hopefully we can get that resolved pretty quickly. But I really like how these teams have stepped up here in the game 3 to give us the top level performance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is looking like a really good game so far here, right? We have these two teams who have been duking it out. Like that last game was super in favor of Shining Light White Knights early game strategy here. And now we're getting to the stage where, you know, we're looking at this whole map here. We're looking at this now more even game than we saw before, right? Game number one, Wolfpack stalls it out, gets their late game stage, and that gold lead that they got, even though it was really low, they're able to run through the game with, right? Game number 2, early game City, right? Now game number 3, as probably was prophesized, is pretty even here, even though we see a 3k gold lead in favor of Shining Light White Knights here. It's still, I still think it's pretty close though, because this team still can get pretty strong here. I think this Jace is really strong. I think this Lucian is getting there. He's almost there. And right, it's like Jace versus Lucian essentially at this stage.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and ask you straight up: which side would you rather be in this situation? Coming back from the pause, which team do you think is in the better state right now?
I mean, it's got to be the team with the Draven, right? Like, it's just I feel like Draven is gonna scale better than the Jace will, getting into these late game situations here, and the Syndra has nowhere to go but up. So if they continue to itemize against this Lucian, then they're going to be in big trouble because they're going to have to deal with the Syndra, right? And Syndra is doing pretty well, 5-1 already. Like there's two massive threats, and it's very hard to itemize against both of them right now.
Yeah, that's true. You can't really find a way to avoid getting killed if you get into an all-out confrontation with this Syndra, this Draven. But I do think that with the extra range available to Wolfpack Rendezvous, I'd actually even favor them a little bit because I think that the infinite scaling of Belveth is going to serve them well, and they've got the wave clear to make it happen.
Yeah, it's now better genetics having to fight Eddie Spaghetti again, and we're seeing why this matchup is so Jace favored here. The whirling blades of death come out. Here comes the stun from Learning Brain in from the side here. The hero that his team needed, and that's what they're going to get. And now Learning Brain looking to fight random player here, has the damage to do it, already dodged a decent chunk of their burst as here comes Phoenix Main in from the side here, flashes over the wall, throws out the bubble and gets him midway through the air, gonna get the kill as well. Phoenix Main takes down Belveth, and now Hiccup nowhere to go, gets taken down. Loki Dosi cashes in all of those adoration stacks. Now they're pushing in with this sneaky Baron buff. I don't think they've got anywhere to go.
Never mind, Shinkari. I take it back. I would rather be Shining Light in this situation.
Oh, yeah? You want to be him now? Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's the spot that we're at. We're at the bases are falling. We're gonna have random player and Hiccup probably gonna be able to defend, but I don't know if they'll be enough. Well, that's a ton of damage from Eddie though.
Yeah, Loki Dosi is taking incredibly low here. I think they'll be able to get this one Nexus turret here, but they're like I see. Oh no. Okay, well, Loki Dosi loses 75% of those stacks, but they were already cashed in, so it doesn't matter.
I think that it's funny that we've seen surrender votes in 2 of the 3 games coming out from Wolfpack Rendezvous. I wonder if they're having any difficulty with the mental struggle of coming from behind. But whatever the case, they're at least able to stay alive in this game. They're using their poke to buy them some time. They've got the ability to scale up. There is still hope for this game, even though at this point they are in a little bit more of a difficult situation.
Yeah.
But they've got to find a way to contest, if not this dragon, then the next one, and they need to be able to keep clearing these waves as effectively. If they ever drop off of their wave clearing potential, then they could just have the rest of their base fall pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Loki Dosi can hear me, I don't think he can because we're on a delay, but man, it would be really cool if you could build a Storm Razor. That'd be super cool. I would love to see a Storm Razor. I haven't seen that item in a million years, and you have Storm Razor's best friend. You have a rapid fire cannon. I want to see it.
Oh,
Eddie Spaghetti, though.
To connect?
Oh, no, it's not going to connect this time.
It cuts the wave, though. It was just a wave clear ultimate.
Yeah.
We've seen pretty great fighting from Better Genetics, though, able to go toe-to-toe with Eddie Spaghetti's Jace. I mean, not the most effective build at taking out an Ornn, but maybe random player's going to have it.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, random player definitely does have it there. They're going to be able to find the kill up in that top lane there. That's going to be the explosive, the Mega Inferno Bomb coming out into the lane in the mid lane here. They're going to be able to secure an objective bounty for themselves in the top half of the map and pick up a kill, but they still have a long way to go if they want to get back into this lane in this game here. Spaghetti looking for a little bit more, can't quite find it.
Yeah, and I have to wonder in 2 minutes if we're going to see another Baron sneak. That was kind of the catalyst of all of these plays, was the Baron sneak from Shining Light. They're able to take that one out pretty easily, pretty healthy take, and it's not very, it's like medium speed too. It's not the fastest, but it's not by any means a slow take. They're going to be able to take it in like 12 seconds ish.
Yeah.
So there's going to have to be eyes on that from Wolfpack Rendezvous, not allow that to happen again.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're seeing the game slow down just a little bit, but still 7,000 gold in the lead. The blue team, Shining Light White Knights, is looking incredibly powerful, and it doesn't look like the red team can accurately or just evenly just fight them on their terms at this stage. Like Loki Dosi is just so far ahead. It's really tough to see a way back into this just because of how often fights like this are happening. That's going to be the jump onto Hiccup here. The kill is going to be picked up by Phoenix Main here. Is number 2 Ginger caught up by Random Player and Rough Beans here. Goes Golden, looking for the damage on a Random Player. Might be able to get it. Flashes forward, not going to be able to find it. Takes a turret shot and looking for the maybe something onto Rough Beans, but that's going to be the culling coming across here. Lucian's going to be able to find it. Learning Brain is going to get out of there with before so Loki Dosi put some burst damage onto the turret there. Finally backing away at the end of the day. They trade 1 kill for 2 in the mid lane and maybe some turret damage as well as Eddie Spaghetti and Better Genetics do get it out one more time. But here comes Phoenix Main in from the side here. Rough Beans is here as well. Tidal Wave comes across, but not quite anything just yet. We're back on the mid turret.
Yeah, the big win is going to be breaking the mid lane tier 3. Going to maybe even get the inhib here. That'll give them some priority to help set up around this Baron as well. So another good fight coming out from Shining Light. They're going to be trading once again, but we'll see if Random Player can contest on that red buff.
Yeah, he gets the knock up on the Learning Brain here, but once again, I don't think he wants to walk anywhere near this Draven right now, as that's going to be... Oh, look at this flank from Eddie Spaghetti here. Might be able to find Loki Dosi. Definitely is getting Phoenix Main here as Rough Beans coming through, but look at the damage from the Draven. Finds one, tries to get the Whirling Death kill onto Eddie Spaghetti, and Eddie Spaghetti tries to get a cheeky kill onto Loki Dosi, but can't quite get it, as that's the triple kill for the Draven here. Looking for Random Player here. Subaru Natsuki is going to be able to delay them just a little bit longer coming into the base here, but I think it's the blue team looking to end the game off of all that.
Yeah, it could be pretty difficult without a wave, and Zig's pretty good at clearing out some waves as well, so I'm not entirely sure that they're going to be able to end it, but they're sure going to try.
Yeah, that's going to be the Mega Inferno Bomb coming down. They're trying to remove the minions here. Random Player dives right in, gets stunned up here, but they have the damage onto the Nexus turret here. That's going to be Draven finding another kill. Ziggs finds the kill onto Jax, but it's 3v1. These HP bars are so healthy. They're looking for the burst damage onto Loki Dosi. They find it. They finally get the shutdown, but the game is over. The Nexus explodes, and Shining Light White Knights are your winner for this match of the Season 13 playoffs.
Yeah, what a match it was. It was really close all the way through. Loki Dosi coming up clutch in that last game. Number 2 Ginger with a good series overall as well. I think that a well-deserved win here from Shining Light, but a really well-played match from Wolfpack Rendezvous as well. I expect to see them coming strong through the playoffs. I think that this was the last matchup of the Rumble stage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that means it's going to be the lower bracket side for Rendezvous, but they should have a pretty good opportunity. I would expect them to be the number 1 likely team to make it through that and get back to the semifinals.
Yeah, I think it's really big that we're getting this. So I think we still have one more match. I'm not quite sure if this has already been played out, but Chaotic Maelstrom and Madison Esports Badgers are the last team, to play out their Rumble stage here. And the winner of that match is going to play Shining Light White Knights in the semifinals here. And Wolfpack Rendezvous is actually going to move down to the knockout stage here, and they're going to be playing their sister team, Wolfpack Caldera, And then the loser of Chaotic Maelstrom and Madison Esports Badgers is going to face Wildlife Esports Panthers in the lower bracket there. So we still have some exciting matches to come in season 13 for this top bracket here. Looking really, really good coming into the future here with these top 6 teams moving on to the as we get closer and closer to the season 13 finals.
Well, I like what we saw from both of these teams today. Some good adaptations throughout the series. That's my favorite part about the fact that we always like to have best of threes and then some best of fives later on. Always like to see the adaptation. Some good stuff coming out from both of these teams today. Showing us that the sides may be a little bit more balanced now. I mean,
Yeah.
two red side wins, one blue side win.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say which side's going to be better throughout this upcoming season, but we're seeing a lot of different looks from all of the sides that have played since the preseason started. And I'm here for it. I want to see some more spicy drafts in our upcoming matches. I know there's one on Sunday. Hopefully, we'll
Mm-hmm.
get a bunch more stream next week as well.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for tuning in. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you all so much for tuning in. I forgot to mention Tiger58, my co-caster for this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, press that follow button. We've got League of Legends action for you to watch nearly every single day. And if you're feeling generous, press the subscribe button as well. It supports the stream. It supports Style Esports. It helps us keep the lights on here at Style Esports and continue to bring you great League of Legends action here. But from everyone here, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.